Jeannie, there are troubles. Troubles.
New troubles or just like the usual troubles? I can't take no more troubles.
Well, luckily we don't live in McCall, South Carolina, so we ain't in one of our troubles.
Yay!
But it's still trouble.
That is, yeah. That is a
right there in River
thought.
City. And that's capital P, that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. They got trouble in McCall County.
Oh my god.
The mayor is dead.
Oh, okay.
Died in a head-on collision with a tractor trailer.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's terrible.
While he was being pursued by deputies in neighboring Marlboro County.
Pursued by deputies? Did he shoot the sheriff? Is it him?
No. The sheriff
Cinderella.
and the chief of police and all of the officers in McCall had resigned.
Wow. What for?
It was a hostile work environment.
Oh my god. What constitutes a hostile work environment for people who are armed?
I don't know. But apparently they couldn't take it no more.
Wow.
And they all quit.
Wow.
And the deputies from neighboring Marlboro County were not chasing the mayor in relation to any crimes committed. It was
Really?
for his own protection within
What?
the limits of his mayoral duties.
What?
Yeah.
A police pursuit for your safety?
Yes.
That's like Jason Voorhees. Like, no, he's trying to teach you to swim. Jason Voorhees is trying to bring you some like water wings. I don't buy it.
Well, according to the coroner,
Oh.
well, he's the next line of authority. The mayor is dead. There's no police. Who else is there?
True. Oh my god. So like the coroner's like the king of the county.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because there's no cops. Because they all quit.
So he's kind of like de facto like detective mayor. Like the king of the county.
He is everything right now.
Wow.
And according to the coroner, Mayor Gardner was a great man.
Aw.
He would give the shirt right off his back for you.
They all say that.
And I know, and I'm still quoting, by the way.
Yes.
I know a lot of rumors going around saying this and that and others. And some may be true, some may be false. But like I said, no one's perfect. We all go through our troubles and trials. We all go through our odds and ends. End quote.
He's such a cow for not sharing some of those rumors.
What is this
Odds
and
and ends and others.
Who are
This
the
and
others?
that.
I want to know what the this and that is. Can we start with this and that?
You know they know how to gossip and how dare. Well, then again, small town politics, when you're being chased by deputies for your own good into the waiting arms of an 18-wheeler, I would be like, this is normal.
Man.
This is by the book. There's nothing to investigate here.
Look,
Oh,
we all
God.
go through our odds and ends.
Yeah, or this and that. And the others.
And others.
Well, nobody's perfect.
You know, some might be true, some may not.
Even a man that'll give you the shirt off his back.
This is an ongoing story because I am going to follow up. What the fuck, McCall County?
Yeah. Follow up, but not investigate. You know what my stance is on unsolved small town crime. Stay away.
Oh, yeah.
Stay far
I
away.
think we've long since established that every rapist, murderer, bank robber that we know came from our respective small towns.
And we have been living in this city for decades.
Exactly.
And I don't know a single Los Angelino murderer.
No.
But I know a couple of small town murderers.
And bank robbers too, girl. Know a bunch of them. But in case you didn't know who you are, this is not the small town politics will get you killed hour. I am Samara.
And I am Jeannie.
And this is Talk Deadly to Me. Oh, Jeannie.
Yes.
Are you ready to pick up where we left off in the continuing saga of liar, bigamist, trash bag at large, David R. Miller?
Yes. Let us stick a pin in this one, in this insect, and add them to our collection.
I
am ready.
And this is the last one. I mean it this time. I'm not lying. Now we can talk about Dorothy and the dead. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, ba-da, bum. Dead. Elton John loves a fucking refrain, man.
He was so coked out. I think he just Bernie Taupin probably has so many different has a totally different version of Benny and the Jets.
Oh yeah.
And just Elton just got into a stoned kind of loop. Jets, Benny.
At least he remembers what. At least Elton John remembers writing it. Stephen King doesn't remember writing Carrie.
No.
Cujo.
He doesn't remember the 70s.
And I think it.
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
I don't think he remembered.
He definitely didn't remember the 70s.
He definitely doesn't remember Cujo and Carrie.
Yeah.
In the month since David had left her, Dorothy was focused on getting her financial life back in order.
Mm-hmm.
These things are important. She is officially $50,000 in debt.
Oh, yikes! Only?
She's liable for all those credit cards because they were all joint accounts.
Because I know he scammed a lot of people and owes people a lot of money. So the only debt she's tied to, the only thing he could put on her was
the credit cards.
Okay.
Because of the joint accounts. Remember, she knows nothing about his LA life and being a lobbyist and all that because he's in the CIA, Gene.
But also probably being $50,000 in credit card debt then probably felt like $200,000 to us now.
Probably.
It's a lot.
Credit cards have never done anyone any favors.
No. Ever.
And she still had no idea where David was.
Lucky for David.
Man. The day after Dorothy got that letter from the CIA that said that she was married to a con man.
Yeah.
Somebody had to tell her.
I know.
I mean, I feel bad for her.
And they say government doesn't do anything for us.
God bless the CIA agent that said, I think you're married to a con man, madam.
And I just kind of love that it took an official government document and someone of authority to be the guy you married was a bum. Move on.
Honestly, I don't think she would believe anything other than an official government document. Jesus Christ himself could have come down and said, Dorothy, he's a con man, and she would have logicked her way out of it some old kind of way.
False prophet. Yeah.
I don't care if you did turn that water into wine. Nobody drinks Chablis. So, right after she got that letter, Dorothy filed for bankruptcy.
Good.
But that is a process that's going to take some time. In the meantime, Dorothy went back to work, landing a job at a local salon. She did exactly what David figured she would do.
Yeah. Which is probably his plan the whole time.
I guess, yeah, it is. It is, because he figured that he knows for a fact what a talented stylist she is. That's part of what the attraction was.
Yeah.
He had no doubt she would land on her feet.
Yeah.
As long as she could get a styling job.
Yeah. Which is also why he dumped her off by her family, too.
Right.
And he knew he was dumping her.
He knew that he would eventually, yeah.
He's going to leave her with all this fucking debt, but I left you with your family, and I know you're going to pick up a job, and I don't have to feel guilty. La la la.
Pretty much.
Yeah, punk.
And when she wasn't at work, Dorothy wrote letters to credit card companies and law enforcement agencies trying to get the charges removed and trying to sort out if there's anything that she could do to David legally for leaving her high and dry with all these bills.
Ooh, vengeance is mine, saith the Dorothy.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad she's moved away from constantly
pining
and rationalizing.
Cravings. Yes, we've moved from constant cravings onto righteous vengeance.
Good. Good for you, Dot. I'm happy for you. This is good.
Because, the constant cravings were getting a bit much.
Yes.
But she got an official letter, so she's fine now. In the midst of all of this, Dorothy still hoped that this was all a misunderstanding. And any minute now, David would come back and explain everything.
Just fix this.
But not even her powers of denial are that strong. And
Yeah.
she doesn't like it, that she is accepted, that she has been played for the last 12 years by probably one of the greatest con men to walk this fucking earth.
You know what? Yeah. I hate him, but I'll hand it to him because, like, not everyone's that stupid.
Mm-mm.
Like, he has to be very charming, so convincing. What a waste of an education. You know?
Not everybody he scammed was as dick dumb.
Right? Dickmatized.
As Dorothy and Jane. He scammed
businessmen.
People that you would assume have it on the ball. He got Ed Herkesian.
Yeah. Also, like, he was not the one going to jail for the people he was lobbying.
Mm-mm. So, while Dorothy is trying to get her life together, her mind often drifted to the woman that Mrs. Foster had seen David with. Dorothy's like, yeah, she's probably one of many, many girlfriends that David had over the years.
Yeah.
She's not only is she accepted that David was a con man, she's also accepted that he's a cheater.
Yay. I feel like it's like a healthy domino effect.
I don't know which of these was a harder pill for her to swallow.
Right?
The cheating or the CIA con man shit. I almost think the cheating is a harder pill for her to swallow.
It's a more upsetting one. Because, like, ew.
And of all the things that he did, the one thing she always came back to is that he's honest.
Yeah.
Never even crossed her mind.
That's poor thing. Poor thing.
But Dorothy knew that one day David would call again. He won't be able to help himself.
Yeah, true.
And
it's just a matter of time.
And she was scared, though. Because she's scared that if he does, it's not even an if, it is a when. When he does get in contact with her again, she's scared that she might be vulnerable to the bullshit.
Yeah.
Clearly, he knows how to push her buttons.
Yeah.
And make her go stupid.
Yeah.
She's been stupid for 12 years.
She has, but, like, obviously she's also been deeply in love with a version of him that she believed in.
And she wants that guy back.
Yeah.
The guy that...
Or to see, was any of that guy real? Or just accepting that that guy was never real.
Something.
Yeah.
And there is that part of her that is still in love with the version that she had.
I think she's doing really well for what an emotional, messy train wreck of a ride. 12 years of just being bullshitted for 24/7. And it cost you a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All it cost you is a kid and $50,000. A bargain at twice the price.
Oh.
That call from David came on July 5th, 1991. At first, there was no answer when Dorothy picked up the phone. Just breathing. And she was like, oh, that's disgusting. I'm hanging up now.
Masher! Masher!
But just before she hung up the phone, Dorothy heard crying on the other end of the line. Like soft.
Oh my God.
And so she's like,
pitiful.
David?
That pathetic whimpering. It can be only one thing. David?
And as he cried, David told Dorothy that we're in debt, darling. And it's all my fault.
Uh-huh. Yep. And
instead of being like, oh my God, darling, we'll get through this, Dorothy's like, I've been in contact with the CIA. You know that, right?
Been practicing this in the mirror, let's go.
I feel like the only way she was going to get through this if she told him straight out, you're busted.
Yeah, don't engage with his bullshit. His tears, nothing.
Because
I have been speaking to the CIA, David.
now it's David's turn to be scared.
Good. He should be.
It's just as soon as they started, the waterworks stopped, and the sadness was replaced with an anger that reminded Dorothy that he had told her never to call his office.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dorothy scoffed and told David it doesn't matter anyway, darling. The CIA has never heard of you.
You, sir, are a fraud.
And imagine you're in her standard Elise Keaton fabulousness, only now she's drinking cheap box wine out of her good crystal glasses.
Good crystal, yes.
Out of her Waterford glasses.
It will get me drunk and I shall do it in style.
Yes, she is very glamorous drinking cheap wine out of a good glass.
Yeah, having her confrontation that she practiced in the mirror.
Yeah, because I really don't think that she would have made it through his bullshit if she didn't straight out say, I know the truth.
Yeah, and have a plan.
David insisted that the CIA knew who he was. They know me by my agent name.
But did you check my super secret name?
You
don't even know my super secret name.
Right, that's right. They don't know me by David Miller, so you asked the wrong person. They know my secret name.
Mm-hmm.
Super secret name.
Yeah.
Because he's had promotion, so he's super secret.
I know, and you know the hilarious thing I remember from last week, didn't she ask about, like, well, do you know him under his agent name?
She asked.
She's like, that shit isn't going to work on her. She checked every lie, David.
And the CIA lady told her, if he worked here, I could tell you.
Yep.
I can't tell you because he don't work here, man. When she was crying, asking for somebody to look down the hall.
Aww.
Maybe he's in the Xerox room.
Oh, poor thing.
David tried to lie to Dorothy and tell her that he needed some time away to sort things out. And that was when Dorothy asked him if you've been sorting things out with that blonde hussy.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about your hussy.
Strumpet.
Strumpet.
I've seen what you've been doing around town, David. A blonde hussy in beach clothes, David. Beach clothes.
Gadding about.
She had on a tank top and no cover-up.
Casuals? On my porch?
Thong sandals?
I know, right.
Cut off jeans, David. Could you? David swore that the blonde was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But Dorothy's not having it. There were so many lies that Dorothy didn't know what to believe.
Yeah.
The only thing she knew for sure was that she couldn't let David back in.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, Dorothy told David it was over. She's contacted the police, darling.
Mm.
And I'll be pressing charges against you for leaving me in debt.
Yeah. Get him. Get him.
Now David's mad. He big mad.
Yeah.
Like mad. And he's shouting at Dorothy, I'm not lying about the CIA. They know who I am.
Oh my God.
And this is all your fault. If you hadn't been so demanding, I wouldn't be going crazy.
Oh, what a turd. What an absolute... I wonder, do you think he believes his shit? Like, in the moment, I'm sure he does. But, like, how much of his own legend do you think he believes?
60-40? Yeah. I think there is a certain point of truth where he knows that he's lying.
Yeah.
He's not mentally ill or, whatever.
No.
There is a point.
It's too calculated.
That's why I say 60-40.
Yeah.
There is a point, it's an inner point, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
where he knows what he did and he knows that he's lying.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly what he did and why people are bad.
Yeah.
But what's going to come out is this is all your fault.
Yeah, that's the part. I think he believes that this is going left because of you.
Well, because
it's not me.
Well, because his plan is perfect.
Yeah.
You didn't follow his plan. If you had done what he had said,
yeah,
which was never to call my office, never do this, never do that, never do that.
Yep.
If you had followed the rules and done what I said, this would all be fine. But you broke the rules. So this is your fault that this went left.
No, it's not mental illness. It's Darvo. Deny, accuse.
Reverse victim order.
Yep. But ladies, gentlemen, tattoo it on yourselves. Learn it, know it, love it.
And you know what? And next time somebody tries it, just go, ha, I know Darvo, bitch.
Yes. And just walk away.
And so with that, Dorothy told David that she's filing divorce as soon as she can afford it.
Yes.
And hung up the phone. Click, click. Nice tactile hang up, too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Since
Remember
the
when we
90s.
could like slam down phones like you slammed a door?
Because I
Just a
feel
resounding audio like fragment.
I feel like Dorothy's the type of woman that has a long phone cord.
Yes.
And it's all stretched out and weird in places from where
And
she
she
twirls
paces.
it and she paces
Wraps
around the
herself
house.
around.
Yeah, I feel like that's what she's got.
Like,
And-
do you think she got like a running start on that hang up?
Yes. Because I would have wanted him to feel it.
Elise Keaton just like shooting across that kitchen to BAM!
Yes, exactly that. Also, Dorothy did not have to wait until she could afford a lawyer to get this divorce. Most people, especially if you're doing like a no-fault divorce
Mm-hmm.
or you don't have a lot of assets to split, most people can file a divorce by themselves for less than $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is get on Beyonce's internet,
Yeah.
print the forms, fill it out, file them with the court.
Yeah. However, I think if you're divorcing a creature like a David Miller, get a lawyer
Both things
before
are
he
true.
does.
I just wanted to throw that little PSA out there because
You don't have to
there
wait,
is
yeah.
this misnomer that you need X amount of thousands of dollars to get divorced.
Now you probably need $250.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so the misnomer is you need X amount, a few $1,000s to
Yeah.
get to file for divorce. And that's not true. If you've got a complicated estate, if you've got a lot of joint finances, children, shit like that, then yeah, go get a lawyer and do what you need to do. But if you're like in this Dorothy David situation, she could have divorced him for less than $500
True.
and just been done with him.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to pay the debt. She's
Mhm.
going to have to figure that out and do her bankruptcy without him anyway.
Yeah.
They don't
So
have
just
any...
get the lawyer to help you with that.
Right, but like she doesn't have anything to split.
Yeah.
He has no say over the children. He's clearly abandoned their home.
Yeah.
Make it easy on yourself. The next day, David called Dorothy back. But this time he's spitting straight venom.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even going to try to pretend that...
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's
being
used all the
sweet.
other tools. Now it's time for this one. Pure intimidation.
Oh, all of his problems are Dorothy's fault, and she is everything but a child of God and what her mother named her.
What a bum.
Dorothy listened patiently and glamorously.
Yes, very glamorously.
This time she's drinking a cheap rosé out of her good crystal.
But it's got an umbrella in it.
Yeah.
Because she's making a change in her life.
Yeah, like I just feel like
She's a new
Dorothy
woman.
is making like the shittiest already cheap wine cocktails because it's what she got.
Yep.
And like she's doing like vodka and Boone's Farm and just like and like making it work somehow
Yes,
or you know
I'm on a budget.
but she's drinking all of it out of her good crystal
Yes.
because fuck him. She gonna enjoy her
kept
water
that.
for goddammit.
Yeah. That was one of my wedding gifts.
It's the only wedding gift David got her.
Mhm.
So Dorothy listens patiently. And when David had spent himself out, he's huffing and puffing for all the ranting. He's getting a little thick in the middle these days. And that's when Dorothy told David that you're a liar and a cheat. And if there's any justice in this world, darling, I'll be able to bring charges against you. And the next time you call, it may be from prison.
Yay, God willing, God willing. What a lovely thought.
So now David is like in a blinding rage because not only is she not falling for it, but she's being incredibly smug.
Yeah. You're beating me and you feel good about it?
She's being incredibly haughty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, rightfully so. But I think if she doesn't throw on the haughtiness, she will fall for the shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is
It's the bluster she needs to get through this.
yeah, and she is just that self-aware at this point. So David tells Dorothy that if she talks to the police, I'll kill her.
I believe it.
Then he hung up. That call from David did scare Dorothy to death.
Yeah.
But the fear only made her more determined to get the police involved. She gonna get arrested for something. Bigamy, death threats, desertion, debtor's prison. She don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
she wants to take him down for something.
Good for you, Dorothy. You've got fight.
If she could find parking tickets, she would do it. If she found out he stole somebody's mail,
oh my God,
she would rat him out. Mm-hmm. she wants to convict him for something.
He double parked.
She would tell. Right. I swear to God, she would. Postal General, yes. I see a man, I think his name is David R. Miller. He took mail from a box that doesn't belong to him. I need postal inspectors at 1234 Belle Vernon Avenue. She would do it. If she thought she could, she would.
Good for her.
So, after that phone call, Dorothy got a little mini tape recorder, because it's 1991. It was
nice.
Yay big. And she hooked it up to her phone. That way, if David calls again, not even if, when he calls again, she's ready. And when he called her 2 days later with another death threat, Dorothy took that tape straight to the police.
Good for you, Dorothy.
Because she's going to send him to jail for something she don't know what the fuck for, but for something.
Yeah.
Now it's mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
Jane has begun to soften on David.
Oh, softening like an ice cream. Oh, man.
Yes, he lied, tried to strangle her, locked her into a supply closet, and terrorized her into a miscarriage.
Yeah.
But God damn it, she loved him. Even though the relationship had taken a turn for the toxic.
So quickly. I now have to remind myself this is like 7 months of knowing this guy.
Yeah.
And going from just met you, sweep me off my feet, take my breath away, take my family, move across the country.
Yep.
Go to Europe, scare my family.
Yes.
And it's all falling apart. Like the houses, nothing is panning out.
No.
Oh, girl.
Jane even wondered if her and David should do couples therapy. Girl, you need a lot more than couples therapy.
If you've been married 3-4 months and you're thinking couples therapy, just DIVORCE.
Right? Now that is one of the things that the Catholics got right.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody.
What? Oh, yes, yeah.
Before you get married, sit down, talk about it.
Marriage encounters.
Make sure that it's what you want to do. Don't waste your time and money if you got questions.
We're about permanence.
Yeah. Send them to somebody to talk about how permanent this is before they fuck it up.
Yeah. True.
Catholics, y'all got that right.
That is true.
Pre-marriage counseling.
We invented analysis and therapy via the confession box.
True story. Freud perfected it with cocaine.
Yes. Yes. That he did. That's the one good thing he did.
Ja, to your mother, pass me another line. Jane even thought it was kind of sweet that David had lied to impress her.
It was such a different time because I could not even.
I would be like, yeah, we're going now. I'm done here. Bye boy, bye.
Yeah, but back then it was probably she would not be alone in thinking that.
You know, say anything
for me, for little old me. All these outrageous lies.
Say Anything is a great movie.
Oh God, it's been so long since I've seen it.
And I understand that it is. John Cusack has an iconic moment standing under his lady love's window in the rain with the boombox.
Yes.
It's very cinematic, and I understand why people love it. But if anybody does some shit like that to you in real life, run. Run. That person is not right. They're not stable. This will not end well.
No.
These types of grand gestures and weird lies to impress you.
I don't care how pretty he is.
And John Cusack
is so
very
pretty.
Him and Jane are weird hot.
Yeah. That is a strangely telegenic family.
Like,
in the weirdest way.
The sum of their parts do not add up to how I feel about them in the attractiveness era. But here we are.
Right?
But even as Jane looked for reasons to forgive David, the lies kept coming.
Oh my God.
After that last fight, Jane called the landlord.
Oh.
Found out they were in the process of being evicted.
Oh my God. What a way to find out.
I don't know who I feel worse for. Dorothy for being left destitute and having to just get a salon job. Yes. Or Jane, because she's about to be evicted from a claptrap apartment that she can't stand. She didn't even want to be there.
Man. You know, I'm going to give it to Dorothy because she's got kids.
But I'm like, Jane can't even keep this cardboard claptrap shoebox apartment that she could never stand.
Fabulous life to this.
And she can't even keep that.
Oh, man. And she's thinking about, and she's softening towards him.
At this point, David had already moved out, so Jane took the rest of his shit and put it in Papa Richard's storage unit. Couldn't be me, bitch. I would have put that shit in the back of that caddy and burned it all.
Yes, justified.
Justified. Angela Bassett style, like thin line between love and hate.
Yeah.
Just burn it. Burn it all.
Incredibly decent and restrained of her to put it in storage.
Man.
Or I would have sold it.
Because fire is always an option.
And it's cleansing.
Yeah, it feels good. It's therapeutic.
Make it a whole ritual, my friend.
Like, it's just a little property crime. Ain't nobody gonna care about this.
Oh my God.
The cops will be like, it's a domestic. And keep it pushing.
Yes.
Jane decided that when David contacted her again, because you know it's not an if, it is a when.
Yep.
That she would not see him alone.
Oh, good. That's progress.
But Jane still wanted to help David.
Oh, God.
And she's willing to postpone whatever her future plans are to help her man through this crisis.
Oh,
my man.
Right. Bless your heart, ma'am.
David called Jane on July 16th, 1991, the day after he had made death threats to Dorothy. So good times. Good times are being had by all. And David begged Jane to forgive him. He told her, well, darling, I'm living in a boarding house.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because I can't afford the apartment. So he ain't living in a fucking boarding house.
I do, but it's so funny he would frame it like that. Like, I don't know, what kind of weasel? Where is this weasel hiding?
He met some broad named Hilda.
Hilda.
He met some broad named Hilda.
Oh my God.
She is a small business owner, and she is letting him work in her business part-time, stocking shelves.
Yeah.
And he's getting her
really
her spare room in exchange for dick.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's where he's at.
Oh my God. Well, he can't tell her that.
That I landed in the house of Hilda's puss?
No. He's dumb. He's not that dumb. But I love that, he's telling her how pitiful he is.
I'm in a boarding house.
I can't let her know I'm okay.
Because he is more than okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Banging Hilda every other night. And Hilda's paying him for the privilege. She's paying him part-time.
Yeah, his only worry in life is, will these women that I'm defrauding tell on me?
Right? Jane let David know that his stuff was in storage and he could get his things whenever he was ready.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jane told David that she knew he didn't mean to hurt her. But David, darling, you need professional help to deal with your anger issues.
Yikes.
She's right for all the wrong reasons.
I know, right?
He needs professional help.
Yes.
but not for his anger issues. He needs professional help for the compulsive lying, cheating, and frauding. She is right, but for the exact wrong reason.
I know, right?
And David, you need to work out your issues before there can be anything else between us, darling.
Oh, bless her heart. But as far as she knows, honestly, he only does have an anger problem. Like,
if you lock me in a closet,
well,
terrorize me into miscarriage, try to strangle me, in front of my teenager, traumatize my baby, there's nothing to work out.
No, but that's definitely like an anger problem.
I'm like, no, we're just gone. We're just not doing this anymore. Give a shit what your anger problems are at that point. You can solve them without me.
True. But I see why she thinks he has them.
I mean, he does. But it's like, no, girl, just run.
Yeah.
Because the whole time her lizard brain is going,
run.
When your lizard brain says that,
yes,
just leave.
Yeah.
Don't worry about his anger issues. Because I'm guaranteed...
But again, it was a different time.
Those anger issues barely scratched the surface of what the fuck is wrong with this man.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that.
No. Instead, Jane gave David an ultimatum. Asked me what the ultimatum was.
What was the ultimatum?
He has to get rid of his guns.
Oh, God, I almost forgot about the fucking guns.
If David is serious
man.
about working things out with Jane, then David would take his guns to Papa Richard.
Oh, man. She really wants this to work.
Jane told David that she would not see him until he got rid of the guns. Once the guns were safely in Papa Richard's custody, they could talk.
Oh, man.
So Jane calls her poor put-upon father and asks him to take her wayward husband's guns.
That must have had to be like one of the most terrifying calls of his life. This weirdo has guns that you know about, and you're going to try and work things out with him when I receive these guns.
Yes.
He's coming over to my house with guns.
Yes.
I would, if I was him, I'd be beside myself. That's when you kidnap your daughter.
I will lock you in the closet until you get him out of your system.
Exactly. This is what the frickin' patriarchy was supposed to be about, right? Get your daughter out of there.
But I'll lock you in the big walk-in closet that I share with your mama so you got room to space and space around. I won't lock you in a supply closet where you're going to die of fumes.
I know, right? Ugh.
But because he is a decent man and a kind man, Papa Richard took the guns. And after what had happened the week before, Papa Richard knew that David is not safe.
Yeah.
Jane needs to get away from him.
Yes.
But Jane, God bless her, is determined to make her marriage work.
Aw.
David feels good about this. He feels good. Feels good about the lies he has told.
That makes sense because, like, she is still giving him chances.
Yeah. And he did keep his promise about turning the guns over to Papa Richard. But here's the problem. Jane does not know how many guns he has.
Right?
She saw 4 gun cases.
Yeah.
In the back of the car. David would turn 3 over to Papa Richard. See, Jane didn't say how many guns he was going to turn over.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Just that he was bringing plural guns.
Right. And so David held on to the 4th gun. A cute little 9mm handgun. So Papa Richard getting his hands on David's guns made Jane feel better. But it did nothing for Papa Richard. He does not feel good. He does not like this.
Yeah.
The way Papa Richard sees it, if David could get his hands on 3 guns, he's gonna be able to get more.
Yeah.
He cannot for the life of him understand why his usually intelligent and competent daughter thinks that he won't get more guns.
I know, right? I don't know. Hope is a hell of a drug.
There were a couple of times during this couple of weeks where Papa Richard woke up screaming in cold sweats because he was having nightmares that David was trying to kill Jane.
Oh, that poor guy. Oh my God. Yeah, no. Kidnap your daughter.
After one nightmare, he was so scared that he called Jane. He called her at like 3 a.m. or some shit like that.
Oh, that poor man.
And then he freaked out because the line was busy.
Oh. Yeah, that would be scary at that time of night.
He calmed himself down a little bit. He waited a couple of minutes. He called back the second time he gets the answering machine. Now he's ready to get dressed.
Yeah.
But before he walks out the door and does something completely unhinged.
Yes.
Jane finally called her dad back and confirmed that she was okay. She had accidentally knocked the phone off the hook or something while she was sleeping.
Yeah.
Or when she got up to go to the bathroom, she knocked the phone off the hook.
Oh my God, back in the day when you would do that and no one could reach you.
Right. And then she comes back to the bed and is like, oh shit, knocked the phone off.
Yeah.
Probably because she heard that busy sound.
Yeah.
And then puts the phone back on the hook, goes back to sleep, and now he gets the answer. He was ready. He was like
coat on, keys in pocket.
Oh yeah, he was getting dressed. If she hadn't called back, he was going to go to Grandma's house. It was a very real dream for Papa Richard. Poor thing. Talking to Jane and making sure she was okay made him feel a little bit better. But Jane was starting to feel guilty. See, Jane is staying sort of in between her parents' house and her grandparents' house, her grandmother's house. And during this time, she's temporarily staying with her parents, or she went from her grandparents' house to her parents' house to stay, because her brother had injured himself in an accident. He was back in their native Virginia. And her parents would end up being there taking care of him for about a month.
Okay.
So she feels bad because they're out there worried to death about her. Calling the house. And,
constantly.
Waking up in cold sweats, worried about her and everything. And here she's secretly talking to David.
No! Oh.
They'd been talking regularly since her parents took off.
Man. Jane.
She knows her family will not like this.
No. Isn't her sister around or something? Bless her heart.
She's not telling Sandra.
Oh my God.
She's not.
She needs to get a hold of some know thyself and stop being alone. Because it seems like when she's alone, she's the most vulnerable to this weasel.
Somebody needs to keep eyes on Janie at all times.
Yes.
Eyes on Janie at all times. Get the drone, get the drone, get the drone.
I know, because she's addicted to love. And
Man.
she needs to detox.
Man.
Lock her up, train spotting style.
But Jane feels that she's making progress with David. He's coming to terms with who he is and why he feels the need to lie all the time. It's all a crock of shit. Shed spread country crock of shit.
Yes.
But Jane's biggest indicator that David is on the road to wellness was the fact that David had managed to keep his job as a contracted attorney through Disney.
Oh,
that's right,
God.
she still believes that. And he told Jane that now he's making plans to rent a house near Sanford after he gets some of these debts paid.
Yes.
Soon, darling, I'll be able to leave the boarding house.
Let me spin you a new yarn.
Man. Papa Richard is calling her because the man is waking up in the middle of the night in cold sweats because of death dreams.
Yeah.
And here, his daughter's hooking up with this fool every couple of days.
Know. But I mean, it's so common in that cycle of toxic relationships, and there's that on again, off again, I hate you, I love you. And this is just coming at her so fast and furious.
One time when Papa Richard called to check up on her, David was in the fucking shower.
Ew.
In his house!
Oh my god, the disrespect.
In his house.
Jane.
Grandma was home for a week, so she had to go stay at her mom and dad's. When Papa Richard told Jane about his concerns that David could get access to more guns, Jane waved him away. Pshaw, pshaw. If he could get 3, he can get 6.
Yeah. In Florida?
If he can get 6, he can get 9.
Yeah.
If he can get 9, he can get 12. You see where I'm going here.
A plethora of guns. A plethora.
Whether we multiply by 2s, 3s, 1s, 5s, or 10s, he can get more.
I know.
The way Jane saw it, if David was hell-bent on keeping those guns, he would have refused to give them to Papa Richard. And Jane was confident that now that Papa Richard had the guns, there were no more guns.
Oh, man.
She's leaving out the going to get more guns.
I know. This is like some very wishful thinking.
From where Jane sits, David doesn't care about the guns. All David cares about is putting their marriage back together. And the fact that he would give the guns to her father meant that he was committed.
I mean, she really wants to be convinced.
Papa Richard's like, yeah, but nah.
I know. Like, what do you do with someone who's, like, so invested in the lie? In the sales pitch.
But Jane was like, okay, if my dad is worried, I'm going to look again. Her dad is a lot of things, but he is honest and he is kind. He is not going to tell her to be worried about something if he legit doesn't think there's anything to be worried about. So while David is in the shower, Jane takes his keys and checks the trunk of his car. Ask me what he found.
What did he find?
Gun case.
Of course.
And Jane is pissed. He's still lying. How dare you still lie to me, David?
Oh my God.
By now, David is out the shower and Jane comes barging into the room screaming at David for lying. And he was flat-footed. He didn't know what to lie about.
Which one?
No, he'd been able to convince her that she was making strides in the recovery. So he never dreamed that she would search his car for anything.
I know, right? She's never really dug deep before. Like, she just accepts, like, every kind of surface level explanation he comes up with. Why would she dig deep now?
And this is no different. So he decides to play dumb. That way he can calm Jane down. What? What gun? Oh. Now the student is the master. For Jane tells a lie herself. She told David that she thought that he had laundry that needed doing.
There you go. Tit for tat.
So she went out to the car to get his laundry and she found the gun, David. David was like, pish posh, honey. I meant to give that one to Papa Richard. I forgot it. I'm going to take it to your daddy later. It's fine. But your parents had to go to Virginia to take care of your brother, so I couldn't give it to him because he's not here. But when he's here, I'll give it to him.
He's so slippery.
For once, Jane does not buy it.
Good
and
girl.
She told David to pack his shit and get the fuck out.
Yay! Yes, correct.
David swore this is a misunderstanding. He could explain, and against her better judgment, she decides to listen to what he had to say. David swore he had forgotten the gun. It was an accident. He overlooked it. He had meant to give it to her dad. He's not hiding anything else. It's only this one. It was only 4. Only 4 guns. But
definitely telling you the truth about that. For
real, I mean it. Let's not talk about the fact that we can get guns damn near anywhere in Florida.
I know,
that's
right?
a story for another day. If you get 4, you can get more. So, Jane tells David, if you don't get rid of these guns, I'll never see you again. David offered to give it to Papa Richard when he came back. Or he said, Jane, you can keep it. You hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jane doesn't want to be responsible for a gun. So she told David to take the gun to the police station. And don't forget to bring back a receipt.
Proof. Give me proof.
David did what she asked. Guess what? He's just going to
Because he can just, yeah, he can just buy another one.
Or you can just go get it.
Yeah.
Like, the police will hold on to a gun for you.
Mm-hmm.
Give you a property receipt. All you got to do is turn back around, give them back the receipt.
Wait, she let him keep the receipt? She didn't keep the receipt?
Well, she needed to see the receipt.
She just looked at it and like, okay.
Yes.
Have your receipt back?
Yes.
She is a very trusting individual.
She saw the receipt. You're not going to double cross me now that I've seen the receipt.
It's so weird that she thinks this is an honorable guy or a man of his word in any sense. I know too much.
We all know
feel
too
like
much.
I feel like it's unfairly biasing me against this poor woman. Because I think I'd be just as whammied as her in her position.
Well, because there's nothing about him that says he's going to be straightforward.
I don't know.
But yet she takes this receipt and says, okay, that's fine. But when you give the receipt back, he can just turn around and go get the gun.
Know, right? But she is literally convinced he's not going to hurt her.
Later that day, Jane told her sister Sandra about the gun. Sandra hit the roof. She told Jane, you have no idea if David still has guns, silly heifer. Like, he could just go get more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jane was like, but he got a receipt. And she's, what the fuck does that mean?
It means he did it.
It just means he could just go back and get the gun.
Yeah.
David had lied so much at this point that Sandra does not understand why her sister is letting this happen. Why is she giving him the benefit of the doubt? There's nothing about him that says straightforward.
Yeah.
But Jane told Sandra that was before David started to change.
Oh, God.
And she needn't worry because David wants us to get back together so bad that he'll do anything that I say. There's no way he'll double-cross me on this gun thing.
Sweet summer child.
This is one of those moments where I want Sandra to get into her car, go to their parents' house, knock on the door, and when her baby sister opens the door, grab her by the collar, punch her dead in the face.
Yep.
Put her in the trunk of your car
Yes.
and drive to Virginia. Now, this is the end of sorts, according to David.
The dominoes begin to fall.
Yes. So Jane didn't see David for a few days after the whole gun incident.
Yeah.
And she saw the receipt. She assumed that he was busy with work. The reality, he's back over at Helga's place.
Oh, Hilda?
Hilda. It's broad that he's been banging and working for part-time. And he's just basically having near constant panic attacks.
Good. He deserves it. If anyone should be eaten up with anxiety, it's this guy. Good. Suffer.
Because he's terrified that Jane's going to set him up somehow.
Oh, if only.
Or worse, what if Jane found out about Dorothy?
Ooh, dun dun dun.
And they tell the press that he's a bigamist.
Their powers combined. I am Captain Prison. It's such a nice thought.
David, he's glad he used the gun. Or at least he can go back.
Does it make him feel safe? Does it make him feel like a big man?
Yes.
Of course.
Because as long as he's got that gun, he can take care of Dorothy or Jane before they take care of him.
Creep.
And do anything that would damage him publicly.
Oh, freak, creep, jerk, Weirdo.
Also, he is overestimating his public importance.
By a whole lot.
You are a C-string lobbyist, sir.
Right?
You can't even get on Dancing with the Stars. Jack Abramoff
Right?
got on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my god. Yeah. Dancing with the Stars, shame on you.
And that other one, Skip, what's his name?
Skip.
God damn it, he wrote those stupid books. Name some F-list lobbyists. Fuck.
Oh shit.
That aren't Jack
Abramoff. He's the one I know.
This one used to work for Nixon.
Oh.
I want
Scooter Libby?
Thank you. I want to call him Skip Bayless, but that's a different
yacht club names.
That's a different problematic person for a very different reason. I kept wanting to call him Skip Bayless. Scooter Libby got on Dancing with the Stars.
But Skip is like one of those stupid yacht club names, like Scooter.
It is.
Tucker.
It is.
And Muffy and Buffy and all those weird.
Hence my confusion.
Right.
Yeah. But but David can't get on Dancing with the Stars. If you can't even get on Dance with the Stars, are you really lobbying?
I know, right? Yeah.
Only reason those Turkish lobbyists that got Eric Adams in the shit aren't on Dancing with the Stars is because they're not from here.
Exactly.
But I bet you they went on whatever the equivalent is in Turkey.
Easily. By
this time, David's not eating. He's not sleeping. It's so bad that even Hilda's starting to notice that he looks a little bit off. Looks a little peaky.
Yeah. What is wrong, my love?
David decides.
What is wrong? Sorry.
He needs his gun back is what he needs. But he was afraid that if he gets the gun back from the cops too soon, it'll look suspicious.
He needn't worry. These are the cops.
So he decided he just needed time away from Jane. And on August 28th, 1991, David told Jane that he was going to be on a week-long trip to LA.
Okay.
This time, Jane believed him. She was starting to do a lot more believing of David these days. She knew the truth about his finances and his temper, and that felt like there was nothing else to lie about.
Okay.
I know you're broke. I know you have anger issues.
Yes.
That's it. Like,
yeah. It can't get any worse, can it?
Oh, it can, girl.
Yeah, right?
It can get so much worse. Jane had long since decided that she wasn't going to tell David about the miscarriage. She knew that he would blame himself.
Oh, that's adorable.
And since they were trying to build a life together and David is going through so much already, she didn't think David was strong enough to deal with the news of a miscarriage in this very fragile state.
Oh my God. Well, yeah.
Fragile.
He is definitely not strong enough.
He is delicate.
Yeah.
He is but a delicate little flower.
I know. This person, he does seem fragile in a lot of ways.
Incredibly, but not in the way that she thinks.
I know. It's like, lady, run.
On August 30th, 1991, Jane's sister Sandra took Jane out for dinner in Orlando to their favorite steakhouse.
Nice. Yay, Sister Day.
They stop at a red light. Jane casually looks over her shoulder and sees David sitting in the car next to them.
Oh my God. Ah!
Their eyes met. And instead of that loving and longing look, David looked like he was going to snap her goddamn neck.
Oh, ooh.
The light turned green, and I swear for God, David almost caused an accident. He just took off so quick.
Peeled off.
Yeah. Like, give the other cars a chance to stop for you. Wow. God damn. Jane freaked the fuck out. She told Sandra that David's going to kill me, and I need to go home right now.
Wow. Ooh. That's a hell of a look.
Sandra didn't offer any resistance. She just took Jane back to their parents' house. Between tears, Jane told Sandra that David wasn't supposed to be in Florida. He's supposed to be in Los Angeles. And now that Jane had caught David in yet another lie, he was going to kill her. And Sandra can't calm her down.
Yeah.
She's going nuts. Instead of going home, the sisters went straight to the police station,
Good.
and Jane filed the restraining order that she
Yay.
had neglected to file after the strangling incident.
Yeah.
That was like 2 months ago.
It is so lucky she had her sister with her then. Because I feel like if she had been alone and scared like that, I think she probably would have talked herself out of going to the cops.
Yeah, she would have just drove around aimlessly.
Yeah, but she had like someone to ground her, and like, yeah, she was there for it too, and I think that made her like take that action.
Actually, Sandra said she didn't even see the look.
Mm.
She's just going strictly off of Jane's fucking freaked out reaction. And she's like, "You want to go to the cops, we shall go." Like,
Yeah.
Jane just, like,
I will help you do this.
Yeah, Sandra just wasn't going to fight it.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even notice it. It all happened so fast, Sandra didn't even notice it.
Dang.
But Jane
That
is...
could be such a scary look.
And Jane is so freaked out, she's just not going to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
She already knows that David is unhinged. Sandra does not need to be convinced
Yeah.
that David is a problem.
Yeah.
It's Jane that needs the convincing.
I'm glad they were together.
And because the charges against David, or the report against David about the strangling and all that stuff, was fairly fresh, only 2 months, she didn't have a problem getting a restraining order.
Good.
They just looped her right back into
Nice.
like next steps, which is cool. Then Sandra takes Jane back over to their grandma's place to get some rest. But Jane is too angry and scared to sleep.
Mm.
The look in David's eyes just proved to Jane that he was a dangerous and unpredictable man. But she also demands answers.
Oh, man. Jeez. I admire the feistiness. I really do.
So does David.
I know.
That's why we're
That's
here.
so unfortunate, but it's just like, man, don't fight this hyena. He's a hyena. You're going to lose.
The pressure of the jawbite is much harder than you think.
This is not a dude that you're dealing with. This is an animal.
And Jane's not going to let it go. She needs to figure out what's happening here.
Yeah.
She doesn't know up from down, here from there.
And I get it. I really do.
Meanwhile, back at Hilligood's place,
Yeah.
David is angry and stewing.
Oh, good. That's a great combination.
Jane caught him in another lie.
Yep.
And after all of the second chances that she'd given him as of late, David knew there's probably not a whole lot of coming back from this.
No. God.
And it's only a matter of time until Jane found out about Dorothy.
Mm-hmm. It's inevitable.
David was worried that Jane would go back to the Castleberry neighborhood and start asking questions about him.
Oh. It's like knocking on doors.
Excuse me. Do you know about David Miller?
Yeah. Did he live here? Who lived here with him?
So David's just like, I gotta get my gun back.
Jesus Christ.
So like at midnight,
yeah.
he goes back to the police station, receipt in hand,
Mm-hmm.
and tells them, he told the cops he wanted to drop off the gun because he didn't have a locking gun cabinet.
Yeah.
And the wife was uncomfortable without that, so hold it until I get one.
A very reasonable reason to do it.
And so later, when he shows up at midnight, like, finally got a gun case. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You bought it earlier this afternoon, and this is just the first...
Nothing to think twice about.
First chance in your schedule to come back over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets a little fucked up. The gun return people and the restraining order people do not talk.
Mm.
They're completely different wings or sections or whatever. And the people in charge of storing the gun have nothing to do with his restraining order. And because of that, they don't talk and they don't cross-reference.
That's a shame.
So the gun-holding people gave David the gun back without knowing that he was going to be served with a restraining order at 8 a.m. the next morning.
Oh. Damn it. I know it was before computers necessarily.
Yeah.
Like they had a few, but anyway.
And I don't know.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
And I don't even know if this is a thing that having computers would have fixed. Because your computers are only as good as how it's set up. And if you don't set it up so that these two departments talk to each other.
Because obviously it's not occurring to them that these two departments should talk to each other.
Exactly. And like clockwork, at 8 a.m. the next morning, David was served with a restraining order.
Mm-hmm.
He's crestfallen.
Yeah.
How could Jane get police involved?
I know, but he's got his gun to comfort him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness is a warm
Bang,
gun.
bang, shoot, shoot.
Happiness
Yes.
is a warm gun.
When I hold you in my fingers.
Like, that is where he's at.
Yeah.
Right there, firmly. Are you ready for Jane and the Private Eye?
I am so here for Jane and the Private Eye.
So after the incident at the stoplight, Jane took the phone book and found a PI named Bob Brown.
Bob Brown, she did not look far through the alphabet.
She picked his agency because his ad in the Yellow Pages had I didn't write down what it was, but it had a Bible verse on it.
Oh, that is so Southern.
And she was like, "This is a trustworthy man."
Oh, oh my God, she's so traumatized by this man's manipulation, weirdness, and lies that she's turning to Jesus. Get a priest.
And honestly, she's right though.
Oh yeah?
Bob Brown is a private eye, but he's a deeply, deeply religious man who sees his private eye agency as an extension of his Christian missionary work.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's like he's, tracking down the liars, the cheaters, adulterers,
Yeah.
yada, 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 yada. And
on for a long time.
when he would meet these, whoever's doing the cheating, he would minister to them.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I caught you. What's going on with you?
Is there literature involved? Are there pamphlets?
No, he's just tell me what's going on.
Oh, that's nice.
You did this for a reason.
Aw.
Are you unhappy in the marriage? Are you unhappy with yourself? What's happening here? And he would just get people to talk to him.
Oh, that's really nice.
Some of them so much so that he would minister them and help get them into alcohol and treatment centers and shit.
Oh, that's nice.
If he had people that I started drinking and then I lost my job and I can't bring myself to tell the wife and I keep drinking and doing all these things and I'm horrible.
It sounds like Andy Griffith in the Touched by an Angel universe. What the fuck?
And then he would be like, well, then let me help you.
That's really nice.
So she was right.
Oh,
when
good.
her vibe said the private investigator with the Bible verse on his ad is the one for me.
Yeah.
Her vibe was right.
Well, good for her. Yay. I'm glad she found a real gospel Christian.
Yes.
Because there's so many fucking fakes out there.
And during their first meeting, Jane explained to Bob that while her relationship with David was over, she needed to know the truth about his job at Disney and who David really was.
Yeah.
Getting info on David was actually a lot easier than Bob thought it would be. When he called the county clerk's office to get information on the deed to the Castleberry house that David had taken Jane to, Bob found out real quick that the deed on that house belongs to David and Dorothy Miller. He called the DMV to get info on David's driver's license and stuff, and not only was the car registered to David and Dorothy Miller, but the shit had just been renewed in the last month.
Oh my God. One of his parting gifts to Dorothy. I updated the registration.
You won't have to drive illegally now. I've left you destitute, but at least I left you with family, the ability to get work, and you won't have to drive illegally.
Yes, I am a generous God.
And their name is on everything. So Bob Brown is starting to wonder if David was married to this Dorothy person.
And why is this so easy to find out? Why has this man gone to no lengths to hide this?
Because these aren't the lies that matter.
Oh, true.
He's so busy spinning all the lies about the CIA and working at Disney and all the other bullshit.
Yeah.
That the lies of paperwork don't matter.
Yeah.
If anything, he should keep that up to keep other things off of his scent.
No, right? But no, not David.
When Bob told Jane about Dorothy Miller, Jane felt like she had just been kicked in the cunt.
Yeah.
Not a good feeling. I feel you, Jane.
No. It's a terrible feeling.
And Jane searched her memory for where she had heard the name Dorothy before.
Mm-hmm.
She remembered that David had said he had an old girlfriend named Dorothy that had lived with him at the Castleberry house. And that was when Bob hit Jane with the news that David was married to Dorothy.
Yeah.
And it was more likely than not, he was still married to her. She didn't want to believe it. Jane is shook.
Of course not. Yeah.
After all, David had loved and needed Jane in a way that no other man had before.
No, right. It was very convincing, huh?
She tried it. She tried to convince herself that Bob was wrong. She asked Bob if it was possible if David had been married to Dorothy a long time ago and had never changed the information.
Oh my God. Hope springs eternal.
Bob was like, no, my good girl. This DMV information is current within the last 30 days.
Yeah.
Then Bob told Jane that it is, in fact, against the law to be married to two people at the same time.
Yes. Yep.
But he asked Jane to hold off on filing bigamy charges until he could get more information about David's job at Disney.
Good advice.
Bob asked Jane, please, whatever you do not confront David.
Yeah.
Don't. Just pretend like everything is cool. Let me do my thing. I'll help you file whatever charges we can file. Just don't say nothing to him now.
Solid advice. Go Bob.
But in what is probably the most know thyself moment Jane has had through this entire 8 months,
Yes.
she said, I'll do my best.
Oh no, God damn it, Jane.
But she said, I cannot promise I will be able to hold it together if he calls.
Yeah.
I can't. I promise nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I've got fight or fight syndrome.
You know, and that's the thing that people forget sometimes. It's called fight or flight.
Yeah. Not and.
And there are a lot of people that have a lot more fight than flight.
Yeah.
Those are the people that get, like, punched out when they try to sneak up on people at the haunted house. Like, don't do that.
It's fight or fury.
I used to have a coworker when I worked in the fashion industry. And he was all fight, no flight.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of the warehouse guys were goofing off and throwing ice cubes at each other.
Yeah.
And one of them hit him in the head with an ice cube. He hemmed that motherfucker up so bad, people were like, bro, relax. We're joking.
Just loses it.
I was like, I need to quit fucking around.
Yeah.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
You cannot assume that everybody's all flight. Because there's a lot of motherfuckers out here that are all fight.
And looking for an excuse. Bubbling with rage.
And they will just lay you out. Although, every Halloween I do look forward to those videos of scarecrows and the like getting punched out during trick-or-treat times.
I mean, that's the risk they take.
Because somebody jumped down at the wrong dad. And he's got a lot more fight than flight. He just lays somebody out.
The fist was flying before he could think.
Yeah, like somebody jumps as a scarecrow. Boom! Fuckers laying out.
Satisfying.
I do look forward to those every Halloween. I also like slap boxing.
Oh, God.
It's my new favorite sport, girl.
It should be stopped.
No, let us slap the fuck out of each other for my entertainment.
I know, but...
Just... I wouldn't let any of these people slap me.
Fuck no. No one intelligent is doing that shit. But still.
I'll watch. They know exactly what they're doing.
They do.
Now, after talking to Bob, Jane is beyond livid. Just to be safe, she looked up the definition of bigamy in the
Direct
dictionary
my fury for a moment.
just to make sure that Bob had given her the right definition.
I know. What is this? Is he attracted to big women? Is that what bigamy is?
She knew what it fucking meant. She just wanted to double check, make herself feel
God
better.
damn it. Yeah.
But in that process, she also found out that she could get her marriage to David annulled.
Yay.
Then she gets on the phone with a lawyer and got the annulment process started.
Good.
Around 6 p.m. that evening, David called.
Mm.
And in spite of everything that Bob Brown told her to keep her mouth shut, play it cool, be smooth, be smooth.
Yeah.
Not our Jane.
God damn it, Jane.
Jane told David that I know everything, David. I know that you're a bigamist. I know about Dorothy. I know everything.
Oh my God. I'm sure that felt great in the moment.
It did, but goddamn it, Jane.
I know, right? Strategically unsound.
Yes. So David is panicked, and he demanded to know where Jane had gotten this information. Jane was like, information's public record, David.
True.
It's on the deed to the house.
True.
Not a lie. David found a lie and told Jane that Dorothy being on the deed didn't mean anything. He was not married to her. Dorothy's an old girlfriend. They were together for so long that we were more of a common law thing. And then, like, the government just puts your names on each other's stuff.
A likely story. Jane, be strong. Jane, resist. Resist.
And it's a technicality of the state that, you know, so really you don't got nothing to worry about.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Oh, it's total bullshit. David even tried to tell Jane that Dorothy wasn't on the deed.
Oh, your lying eyes. Really? He pulled the lying eyes.
Yeah, she wasn't on the deed when I took you to go see the house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No.
Inhale this gaslight.
And when asked why he never updated the information, David told Jane that was all that was going on in their lives, you know, the trip to Europe, his new job, moving to Florida. It's
yoinking you across the country.
It's been a very eventful 7-8 months.
Yeah. Such been no time.
I just didn't have time. Then David asked why Jane had gotten a restraining order against him. Her head is swimming, poor baby.
Yes.
I really do think there are more than a few moments where she doesn't know what's happening.
How could she?
At any given moment. In this moment, David is making so much sense. And she wondered if it was she who was insane.
That is impressive powers of persuasion.
Maybe she'd read too much into the look that he gave her when he saw her at the stoplight.
Oh, no.
Jane choked back tears and told David that she was afraid of him. That he had looked like he was going to kill her that night, and she was terrified.
Yeah.
David said, "No, darling. I was angry because you didn't say hi when you noticed me at the stoplight. I thought you and your sister were going to go out to meet some guys.
Oh, my God.
And then I got jealous. Not only did you ignore me, but we've barely been separated a few weeks, and you're out trying to meet other men with your sister."
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
What is this, kids? Deny, accuse, reverse victim order. Darvo, know it, learn it, don't love it, just know it.
just know what it is.
Yes.
And then when somebody tries to be like, "Darvo, bitch,"
walk away.
See you. Jane decided that David's explanation had a ring of truth. But she was still scared of him and she needed her space. David swore that he would change the deeds and the registration that day. The next morning, Jade gets up with an information regret, which is probably like a hangover, but different.
Yeah. I ran my fucking mouth again.
And she called Bob Brown and be like, I fucked up.
Good for having the integrity to like fess up to this guy. So damage control.
And she did. She goes, I'm sorry, Bob. I couldn't.
It happened.
Like I heard his voice and I was like,
just unloaded.
So he knows what I know.
Yeah.
And she told Bob the whole sordid story that him and Dorothy were just common law, yada, 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 yada. And Bob is like, look, this is more bullshit, but I'm going to keep looking. Quit talking to him.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing else.
Good on you, Bob.
Shut the fuck up.
Right?
Shh.
You know he's lying to you.
Quiet, Jane.
Yes.
Say nothing.
CJ. CJ not answer the phone. Quiet,
Right.
Jane. Quiet.
Stay away from the Psycho X.
With all due respect, ma'am.
Right? Now, in the days and weeks since Dorothy had been abandoned,
Yeah.
she reached out to her friend, Mrs. Foster, to tell her everything that she had found out about David.
Yes, vent. Vent, Dorothy.
The story was so insane that Mrs. Foster wondered if David had had some sort of mental break. Is he insane?
Good question.
Are we dealing with some sort of severe mental illness? Is it bipolar? Is it multiple personality?
Yeah.
What is it?
What's going on?
Normal people don't act like this.
They certainly don't.
He's got some sort of damage.
Yeah.
But then when Mrs. Foster saw David again on September 7th, 1991, he waved and spoke to her like nothing was wrong.
Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Just a brazen bullshitter. I hate this guy so much.
The people that had been renting the home from David had moved out in that August. And without that rental income, David didn't have nearly enough cash from his part-time job, slinging dick and stocking shells with Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda. That's all he's doing, stocking shells and slinging dick.
He should have stuck with it.
43 years old, this is what your life has come to.
Yeah, leave these people alone. Change your name. Just, give up, dude.
Well, stocking shells and slinging dick part-time is not enough to afford this mortgage. So David decided he needed to make sure the house was in good condition before he turned it over to the company that handled the renters, like the leasing agency, in hopes that he would get somebody into that house before it's foreclosed on. Because if this is foreclosed on, he has nothing.
Yeah.
He already gave up the house in the
that's
valley.
Right. Yeah.
That got foreclosed on. He didn't bother. He kept it up for a while, but because he lived there when he would go to LA. But after a while, he just let that get foreclosed on. By the time Ed Harkeesian and everybody comes knocking, he gave up that house.
Yeah.
On the exterior, David was going through the motions of living daily life. But inside, he's seething, angry that one of his wives may make his bigamy and other crimes public.
Yes, of course it's their fault. Of course.
And because of that, David always kept his 9mm handgun with him. When David was locking up his house after the inspection, he ran into Mrs. Foster. After a few minutes of small talk, Mrs. Foster asked David straight up, "How's Dorothy? How is she?"
Yeah.
Because she wants to see what the fuck he's going to say.
Hell yeah. Give me every juicy detail.
And for once in his life, David was at a loss for words. He didn't expect the neighbor to know. He didn't think that Dorothy and this lady were still in contact, at least not to that extent. He assumed wrongfully that whatever was going on between him and Dorothy, she would keep up appearances.
Yeah.
And here she'd have told
Yeah.
Merritt Foster
Yeah.
the whole
Merritt.
shit.
I love that name. I mean, I think it goes to show how like very uninterested he was in her as a person. Like he has no, like she stayed in Florida for her friend.
Yes.
Like he has no idea how close these women are.
No. So to avoid
Yeah.
giving an answer, David broke into a coughing fit.
Really? He was so startled he started choking on his own bullshit.
Frog about.
This man is such a like a fucking like sitcom character.
And that coughing fit did not make Mary Foster go away. She just waited for him to finish.
Wait for you to be done with your little prelude of coughing. I will have my answers.
And then once, because you can't cough forever.
Mm.
And once he was done coughing, she said, "How is Dorothy?"
Oh my god! Just imagine like out of breath, like
She ain't going nowhere.
how's Dorothy?
She don't give a fuck. Cough again. I can wait. Shit. I'm already home. I just live across the street.
Yeah.
Keep coughing. I give a fuck. I'll stand here all day. David told Mrs. Foster that things weren't good with Dorothy and they had separated.
Ah.
David also confessed that he was married to Jane. And that was the woman that Mrs. Foster had seen him with, like a couple months before. Mrs. Foster was shook because she had just spoken to Dorothy a couple of days ago and she knew the Millers had separated, but they hadn't divorced yet.
Yeah.
Dorothy said there was no money for a divorce. And here's David telling her that he had married another woman named Jane since his divorce.
I know, right?
Mrs. Foster is disgusted with David, especially since he had left her friend with a shitload of debt
Right?
before leaving her practically destitute.
Yeah. Shame on you.
After that conversation, David tried to get out of there as fast as he could, but Mrs. Foster not that. No, come back and talk, motherfucker.
Exactly.
I really wanna meet you. Can I talk to you? Like, yeah, she's Jodeci in this bitch, just two-stepping and telling her, come and talk. I'm not going nowhere. Just let's talk about it.
And he's such a bumbling clown prince of idiocy. Like he's walking around with his little gun to make him feel safe, scared that Jane and Dorothy are gonna blow up his life with like bigamy charges, and here he is, like confessing, telling on himself to Merrick.
And running.
Yes.
And running.
Yeah.
He's trying to get in the car and Merrick is right behind him.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did this, David. I'm sickened. Dorothy loved you so much.
Oh my god.
Can't believe you would do her and
This
the
is
boys
awesome.
like
So
that.
many women are mad at him and screaming at him.
I mean, she every finger wag.
Yeah.
And she's just following him to his car like, you ain't shit.
Yeah. I mean, this must like be I don't know how he's processing this. Like Dorothy screams at him. Jane is screaming at him. Merrick is
The
screaming
neighbor
at him.
lady is screaming at
What
him.
the fuck? These people that just know I told you.
And I bet you Merrick is giving him all the nice nasty.
Oh, yes. Yes.
She is giving him the nicest and the nastiest.
Like I feel like this is like the best of like the like of New England and Southern nastiness,
Yes.
all like mushed into one souffle of hatefulness that only Florida could deliver.
Right now, 10 minutes later, Merrick Foster is on the phone with Dorothy.
Fuck yes, she knows her job.
It only took 10 minutes because that's how long she stood in that driveway cussing David out. Not letting him leave, standing in that door, just reading him the riot
You
act.
filthy piece of shit.
How could you do that? Dorothy loved you. We thought you were a good man.
We were rooting for
We
you.
were all rooting for you.
Get him, Merrick.
So when she gets Dorothy on the phone, Merrick is like, "Would you get divorced?"
Yeah, right. Huh? Tomorrow? Why?
Dorothy told Mrs. Foster that she was going to file for divorce, but she needed her finances sorted first.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, kids, don't worry too much about your finances. Maybe $500.
Exactly.
Print the forms yourself, file them with the court, pay the fees.
Yes.
Get your divorce. I know in some cases it is better to get your lawyer, especially if you've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if it's contentious.
Yeah.
But if you just want to get the fuck out,
do it.
Just go file.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dorothy's like, I need to sort my finances.
Yeah.
Get her divorce. Merrick Foster let out a deep, deep and heavy, exasperated sigh. Because now she has to tell her friend that the renters had moved out, and she had seen David in the driveway of their old home. And during that conversation, David told her that he had divorced Dorothy and married Jane, the blonde woman that Merrick had seen David kissing a few weeks before. Dorothy is like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Now Merrick's like, I could be wrong, girl. I could be wrong. This could be more of his lies. We all know he's a lying liar that lies from the pits of hell.
You know what? Yeah. I mean,
but he did tell me he married this Jane broad like a month ago. So hey.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
He's being consistent with this one.
But I think your boy is a bigamist.
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy, too, goes to look up the word because she knows what it means, but she also needs to be sure.
Yes.
I don't know why it tickles me that their first reaction is, I need a dictionary.
Right. Well, I mean, bigamist is not a word that gets trotted out a lot.
I know, but it's just funny that they know what it means, but they need to confirm.
I know, right? Today be Siri, what the fuck is bigamy?
Right? But it's just funny. They're like, no, I need a dictionary. I need to make sure this word means what I think it means.
Yes. I don't want to jump the gun on being mad. I want to know exactly how mad I'm going to be.
And once you confirm that she had the correct definition of the word bigamy,
yes,
as much as it hurt her heart, she hoped David really is a bigamist. She wants Merrick to be right.
Yeah.
Because she knows that bigamy is a motherfucking crime.
Yes.
A crime that she can prove.
Yes.
Skipping ahead a little bit, but she did take her tapes of the death threats and stuff to the police.
Yes.
And they didn't really do anything about it. She wasn't in imminent danger, or so it seemed. There's no long-standing history of abuse, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah. And he's in Florida.
Yeah, and so they were like,
I bet that's the bigger part of it.
And yeah, they're not going to spend the money outside of their jurisdiction.
No.
So
for domestic?
Yeah, they just kind of shined her on. So she's like, okay, be a bigamist.
I will get you for that.
I will get you, bitch. After getting off the phone with Mrs. Foster, Dorothy sat in her kitchen and wrote letters to the police in Florida, Los Angeles, Pennsylvania, and Vegas.
Nice! Thorough.
In all of these letters, she explained that her husband had left her with a mountain of debt and that she had information that suggested her husband may be a bigamist. She closed each letter saying that she was still looking for David and for them to contact her if they had any questions or information on where David may be. Dorothy didn't know if the letters would work. She didn't give a shit.
It's a start. Good for her. Do something.
Meanwhile, private investigator Bob Brown is able to confirm that David never worked for Disney.
Nice.
Sandra had all but confirmed it, but Dorothy, Jane is kind of like Dorothy. She needs some sort of certified letter from the government. He's a con man.
Yeah. That's what it's going to take.
And the way their lives shook out, Dorothy was able to get that letter, and sadly, there's no government agency for Jane.
Oh my God, there needs to be a Department of Relationships that hands out like certified letters, like, you are dating a bum.
Here you go.
He's cheated on you. He's a certified cheater. Yeah, certified
bum. Here you go. Take your paperwork. I'll be with you Oh, no, this one, nope, certified hobosexual.
Sent by certified mail.
Yep, certify that. There you go. And then that way people will feel better about moving on from shitty relationships. And somebody could like certify something.
Yes.
It worked for Dorothy. Bob had also found some phone bills from March of 1991.
Oh, yeah?
Just before the renters had took over the house that David and Dorothy shared. And he noticed that there were a lot of calls to Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania.
What could this be?
Bob suspects this is Dorothy's phone number.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be able to finally prove that, yeah, David was married to Dorothy at the same time he married Jane.
Nice.
Bob figured that all the business trips that Jane said that David had been taking during their relationship were just cover stories for trips to see Dorothy.
Yes. Yeah.
But Bob is still trying to figure out how David was paying for this double life. In today's money, he's running close to $1 million in expenses because he has to pay mortgages in 3 different places, and rent in 3 different places. He's flying cross country every 3 or 4 times a week. Plus, he has to buy food for children.
Yeah.
He's paying all these fancy trips. He's running up a pretty big bill.
Yes, he is.
On a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And so Bob's like, how the fuck does one pay for all of this?
Right?
Bob had already completed the first part of his investigation, but he needed Jane's permission to dig some more. Because his original task is just figure out who he is if he really works for Disney.
Yeah.
But
a very limited scope.
But Bob is intrigued.
Yeah, right? I must peel this onion.
And it's rotten on the inside.
Oh, God, ever so.
Jane told Bob that she still needed help filing bigamy charges against David, but she decided that she needed to talk to Dorothy herself.
Yeah, woman to woman.
By now it's mid-September, and while he had reached out several times, Jane is no longer speaking to David. Fuck that guy.
Good.
But it wasn't for lack of trying. After that little confrontation with David about the information that Bob found, yada, 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 Jane had started to believe in David again. But her sister Sandra and her BFF Jody keep talking sense into her. Yeah. No. Don't pick up that phone, bitch.
Yeah. You know what she's like. You sit on her.
I will kill you where you stand if you pick that phone up and talk to that man.
You need to keep detoxing.
If you want to stay alive, you don't pick up that phone.
Right?
I will leave your child motherless before I let you talk to him again.
Yeah. That's what it takes.
There was a time when David was calling Jane every 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
But in the end, Jane told David that she wasn't going to speak to him until after Bob Brown finishes his investigation. Buy yourself some time, I guess, but don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Stick to that.
After Jane had made it clear that to David that she's no longer speaking to him, Jane got up the nerve to call Dorothy.
Yes.
Dorothy answered the phone in a somewhat panicked voice. She's always panicked when she answers the phone these days.
No doubt.
Because she's either going to get some word that you can file some sort of charge, or her bankruptcy is proceeding as planned, or David's trying to threaten her again.
Right.
Or either way, she got the tape recorder on her phone. She ready.
Yeah. But I'm guessing this would have been like the the infancy of like a caller ID if she had it.
Yeah, she can't afford it.
That's true.
It was an extra feature. That was an extra $10 a month. She's barely keeping the phone on.
Because I just imagine if she sees that Florida area code, just be like, it's him.
This is one of those moments where I'm like, change your number, but don't, because you need information.
Right?
And if you change your number, then people can't find you to give you information.
That's true.
It's a catch-22. Just like if you got a stalker, don't block them, even though you want to.
I know, right?
Because you need to gather evidence and be able to present that it's been a problem for a long time before you can get somebody to do anything.
Take away any plausibility of denial.
Exactly. Like every time the phone rang, Dorothy hoped that it was David calling to give her answers or enough ammunition to file more charges.
Mm-hmm.
She don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Good.
You're either going to help me get out of debt or you're going to give me a reason that somebody can prosecute.
Yeah.
Give a shit which. One of them is about to happen.
I feel like she is well along her healing journey.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you, Dorothy.
That
like 12 years wasted, and now I waste no more time.
Yeah, that wound is good and crusted over. She good. She good. So, Jane almost hangs up the phone.
Mm.
She hears Dorothy answer. She's choked for a minute. She doesn't know what to say. Dorothy's about to hang up. But then Jan managed to take a big breath and say, "This is Jane Millers, David's wife."
Mm.
"Who is this?"
Mm.
To which Dorothy replied, "This is Dorothy Miller, David's wife."
Oh, God.
Actually, their call went very well, all things
good.
considered. They were on the phone a little more than an hour, comparing notes, and thankfully, neither bore the other ill will.
Good. Nor should they.
They agreed.
It's a relief.
It is real easy for some people to get stuck in that, my man.
Yeah. And, like, it depends on how you cope.
Honestly, Dorothy got a certified letter. She is okay.
Yeah.
She is certified and bona fide that she was
Yeah.
married to a con man. The government even said so.
Yep, they sure did. Ma'am.
Which I think helps.
I
think she needed that letter.
Man, I wonder how many of those letters are out there.
Too many. Far
I know.
too many.
I wish there was a way I could find out.
But whatever the number is too many.
It is way too fucking many.
Dorothy's could be the only one, and that's too many. I know that's not true. But whatever the number is too many.
Yes.
I bet they send 5 of them a month.
Easily.
That's
Oh my God.
too many.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm being conservative.
I think that's in the ballpark. Now, internationally...
That's a whole different story. I'm not even bringing Interpol into this shit.
Oh, God.
Both women agreed that they had been married to a con man and that there was no need for beef in between them. They were both victims.
Yes.
And during that call, Jane found out all of the business trips that David had been on were cover stories to spend time with Dorothy.
Mm.
And Dorothy confirmed that in the last 6 months, all of David's CIA missions were cover stories for him to go see Jane.
Yeah.
This was also the first time that Dorothy found out about David's lobbying business and political career in LA.
Yeah.
Remember, she thought he was a lawyer that brokered the finding of information
Yes.
or something stupid.
Incredibly vague mission statement.
Before,
But really, it's just a cover for the CIA.
Yes, super secret agent. Super secret.
Man. He would not let her have a scrap of truth.
Not even a little bit.
Mm-mm.
David R. Miller is his name. That's all she got.
And the legit marriage license.
And the car registration.
Yeah. The car registration.
And her name was on the deed to a house. She didn't get to keep it, but it was on there.
It's foreclosed.
And now she got a foreclosure on her shit.
Yeah.
In addition to the 50 grand. Fuck,
Oh
I'd forgotten all about
He's
that.
like the boil that just keeps on itching.
And it needs to be lanced.
Mm-hmm.
Before the call was over, both Mrs. Millers had made plans to meet in Vegas, where they had the best bet of filing bigamy charges.
Yes.
Since that's the state where he married them both.
Yeah. The scene of the crime.
In the same honeymoon suite.
In
In the same hotel. In the same chapel. Only Dorothy didn't get guests.
That's right. Poor Dorothy.
Jade at least got guests.
Yeah.
That's a goddamn shame. Dorothy didn't get shit. She didn't get no vacations.
No, she didn't.
Jane's trip to Europe was a disaster, but at least she got to go.
I know. No, he just kept her like hemmed up and a single mom.
Yeah.
Like I think if you're gone half the month, that person's a single parent.
For all practical purposes,
Effectively.
yes.
Yeah.
So while his wives are making plans to take him down, David is running the streets of Florida out of his mind with worry. David was confused at why Jane was no longer speaking to him, and he's worried that Jane and Dorothy found out about each other. If Jane had found out about his double life, there was no telling what she may do. He's afraid of the feisty.
Yeah. Because she will pick a fight. She will do something.
Yeah. She's a rabid hyena right now.
Yeah, she will not go quietly into this good night.
No, nor should she.
Mm-mm.
And then there was Dorothy. Did Merrick Foster call her?
Ooh.
Had his wives spoken? Every morning, David's waking up in a cold sweat, checking the morning papers to see if there's any reports of his bigamy.
Oh my God. Because he's such an important media figure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, bro, even when this all comes to an end, you're like page 3.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It's that.
By September 14th, 1991, David decided that he needed to find out what Jane knew.
Mm.
First, David went to Jane's grandma's house. The old woman was home from one of her many, many, many vacations. And she told him that Jane would not want you here.
Yeah.
He was fully satisfied. He's like, well, I know Jane doesn't want me here. I get it. I know we're having problems, Grandma. But can I borrow your phone real quick?
Mm.
Just the phone. So Grandma's like, all right, well, just the phone.
You can't give this guy a centimeter. You can't.
And the reason why David wanted to get next to the phone is because by this time he knew that Jane had made a habit of making notes in the margins of phone books.
Oh, fuck.
And if she had hired a private investigator or something, she would have written it down inside the phone book. So he just flipped through the pages of Grandma's phone book until he found an ad for Bob Brown that Jane had circled along with the pertinent details of that first meeting.
Yeah.
And that's how he confirmed that Jane had hired a private eye.
I so bitterly begrudge him that bit of sleuthing.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, oh, that's smart. But fuck you.
And it just goes to show that this is why she feels cared for and this is why she feels loved.
Yeah.
He's doing a slimy thing, but he does pay attention.
Yeah.
He pays attention enough that you've got the... Writing in the phone book like that is a weird tick.
Yeah, it is.
Not like weird, like something's wrong with her, but that's just an odd tick of a person.
You would have to be like watching someone like a hawk in 8 months to figure out that's a habit.
Right. And so this is how he does it.
Yeah.
This is how he's making Jane and Dorothy feel like the most important girl in the world for the 15 minutes.
But isn't it like pitiful how low the bar is? Where all you have to do is just pay a little bit of attention and like integrate those things.
I think it shows, it's not just that. It's not just that the bar is low. I think it's a certain type of attention to detail where he notices your little quirks, things that other people never notice about you or don't see. And he takes that and it's like, oh, I love it when you bite your lip, when you're like these little,
when you're thoughtful. Yeah.
Right, these little ticks that nobody else says anything about.
Yeah.
Is what's making, I think that's the trick.
Yeah.
Even though he's doing a creepy thing right now, if you paid that much attention in that 8 months to pick up on that habit, God only knows what other little quirks she may have that he zeroed in on in an endearing way.
Yeah, and manipulated.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think we just cracked his code. I think that's his secret.
I think so too. That makes a lot of sense.
So now that he knows that a private eye is involved, he knows that Jane most likely knows about Dorothy. And if Jane knows about Dorothy, it's only a matter of time before one of them goes to the media.
Yeah, my reputation.
Oh, my precious,
oh
precious
my
reputation.
God. What will I do?
And so David found himself driving around aimlessly until he made it to the Foster's house. The Fosters let him in. Merrick is just side-eyeing the fuck out of him the entire time. Just, I guess you could let him in, Tom.
Yeah. I get more information.
I mean, yes. She was probably looking at Tom and like, you better do your duty.
Yeah.
You know what I need. You know what I want.
Get it from him.
So, Tom Foster takes David out in the back. He was cleaning the pool. David talked to Tom Foster for over 3 hours.
Dang.
During that time, he ran the gambit, saying he's going to kill himself, that Dorothy and Jane could ruin him.
Yep.
At no point did David tell Tom Foster he was a bigamist. He's making it sound like he's divorced, and maybe there's some sort of weird bitterness between two women that are out to get him back. Because
bitches, you know?
Yeah. Bitches. And when David left the Foster's house, dear God, poor Tom. I've never felt so bad for a man named Tom in my life.
Really?
3 hours?
Yeah, that sounds like torture.
Captive audience by your pool. You was just trying to get the leaves out.
And I'm sure it was very emotional.
He wept.
Oh, God. Torture.
Tom probably had to be like, there.
For 3 hours, this guy is just like emotional vomit on him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But when David left the Foster's house, he was upbeat and ready to face his problems with Jane and Dorothy.
Yeah, he just had like therapy for 3 hours.
He left the Fosters looking upbeat, but he decided in that moment he was going to get rid of Jane.
Oh, man.
That's it. She's got to go. He doesn't have a plan like a when or a where, but he knows he's going to.
Yeah, it's got to happen.
After all, Jane's the one that hired the PI. She got the cops involved. More's the pity, David thought. More's the pity.
Delulu,
He really loves Jane. And if she hadn't been so goddamn curious, there could have been a chance that they could have been able to work it out and stay together.
Yeah, right.
But now, staying with Jane is impossible. And this time, Jane is staying with her parents. Grandma's home, so.
Yeah.
But she hadn't told her family about the bigamy just yet. She's keeping that in her back pocket.
Yeah.
While she had been looking into David and contacting Dorothy, Jane was also making plans to move back to Los Angeles and then go to Vegas to meet Dorothy to file the bigamy charges. Jane didn't have much to take back with her to LA. Just some odds and ends in Papa Richard's storage unit.
Yeah.
David had blown through her savings in addition to whatever financial ruin he had brought upon himself.
Parasite.
And Jane was damn near flat broke.
Yeah.
But thank fuck she had gone back to work for these couple of months. I think she had been working like 3 or 4 months. Not long.
Yeah, just enough. Just enough to like get her across the country.
Yeah, to fund this move.
Yeah.
She has got just enough for that. And Jane was looking forward to her future. She had high hopes that she could get her old job back in LA. They didn't want her to go. She left on good terms.
Oh, good.
So and she's only been gone for like 8 months.
Yeah.
So as long as they didn't do a super rushed backfill, it's real possible that she could get her old job back. And she was focusing on rebuilding her life as a single woman. She is finally okay with being alone.
Yay! She got there.
Jody was going to let her move right back into their condo.
Yay.
She was pretty much going to pick up life where she had left off.
I'll just take a break from dating.
When David got back to Hilda's that night, he got a message from Jane. She wanted David to meet her at Papa Richard's storage facility to separate their things. Later that same afternoon, Jane called Dorothy and Bob Brown to let them know that she had called David to make arrangements to get his crap out of her daddy's storage unit. She didn't want to be responsible for David's stuff or give him an excuse to keep coming around because she's got his things.
Yeah.
And she just wants to be rid of it.
Good. Yeah.
While Dorothy and Bob totally understood why Jane wanted to be rid of David's things.
Yeah.
They were worried about her.
Yeah.
And her safety.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jane had told both of them about David and the guns. And now that David's a man being afraid of being exposed, he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And Dorothy and Bob are just like, look, stay away from him. Don't go near him. So now it's Sunday, September 15th, 1991. Jane had finally told her parents and the rest of the family about all the dirt that Bob had been able to dig up on David and his double life. She told her parents that she's leaving David for good, fucking off back to LA.
Yay, good plan. Good plan.
After catching her parents up, Jane called David and told him to meet her at Papa Richard's storage facility by 3 p.m. to get his shit. Papa Richard and Mama Janice asked Jane not to have any contact with David. And Jane assured them she'd been hanging out with David too long because she got lives of her own anyway.
Yeah.
She assured her family that she was not going to have any contact with David. She was going to go to the storage unit, get his stuff, put it in boxes, stack it up outside the unit, be gone before he even gets there.
Good plan.
Different plan.
Oh, no.
She has every intention of giving him the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But she wanted a final confrontation. The final countdown. Yes. She wants to fight. Yes.
Oh God.
She needs. She's fighting.
She to her detriment. Yes.
And any other time I'm like, get him, bitch.
I know.
But right now I'm just like, no, Jane.
You gotta pick them. You gotta pick your battles.
What did they say in Three Musketeers? Discretion is often the better point of valor.
It truly is. Thank you, Alexandre Dumas.
Yes. And I think that works here.
Yes.
I really need her to be a lot less
fighty. She is fighty and foolish like D'Artagnan.
Yes.
D'Artagnan.
But I need her to be a little less fighty right now.
Be a little more Athos. A lot less Porthos.
Yes. But she needs David to know that she knows everything. And that with Dorothy's help, Jane Maggie was going to be the one to expose David and bring him down.
Oh my God.
David lied. He had cheated and he had stolen from her one too many times. And she wanted to see the look on his face when he realized that she was going to be the one to ruin his life, take him down. Yes.
This is an admirable amount of vindictiveness. But...
Oh, it's perfect, Jeannie. It's perfect. First, Jane would give David his shit. And then she would tell him that she was going to press bigamy charges. Then she would expose his questionable political connections. By this time, Jane had gone through a bunch of his stuff and
saw gassing herself up.
Yeah, she had found some stuff about his shady lobbying stuff and things like that. And after she told David how she was going to take him down, Jane was going to get on the next plane to Los Angeles and leave David Miller to deal with the wreckage of his life alone.
Good plan.
She's very clever.
What's the name of the girl with the bunny ears and Bob's Burgers?
Oh, I forget that kid's name.
I know, right? Not Linda.
No, Linda's the mom.
Gene is the son. Bob is Bob.
And I don't remember the daughter's name.
Tina's the Tina.
Tina and I don't remember the
husband's
name.
But her. This is who I feel like is. This is your kindred spirit. Jane.
Oh, because she's
20 years and all.
She's feeling very clever.
Yes. I mean, it's a great plan.
If you weren't dealing with a stone-souled psycho.
No. This is perfect for a high school boyfriend.
Not only is he a stone cold psycho, but let me remind you, he has choked you out.
Mm-hmm.
He stuffed you in a closet for 4 hours where you almost passed out of fumes.
Yep.
And then terrorized you into a miscarriage.
Yeah. That's enough.
Discretion
And
is the better point of Fowler.
Yeah.
I need her to have a lot less fight and a lot more flight.
Yeah.
Especially since she has a plane lined up in 48 hours.
Exactly. Literally. Fly.
On the way to the storage unit, Jane stopped at a store and got herself a wine cooler because it is the 90s.
Yeah.
She got one of the big ones, the little 32-ounce
Oh
ones.
my God.
Big Bartles and Janes.
Oh my God. That is adorable.
She's classy.
Classy. Bortles and James.
In 1991,
All right, I'll give it
you
to
go
her.
you get some
Florida.
liquid courage to confront your crazy ex. Yeah. Because what? She gonna get some Mad Dog 2020?
She doesn't need that.
She got standards, is what I'm saying. Bartles and James, bitch. Bartles and James.
It's a step above. Yes.
Then Jane headed to the storage unit. And she spent about an hour going through boxes, getting some more information about David where she could, taking a few pieces of paper here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But generally just packing up his stuff and, like she promised her parents, stacking it outside of the storage unit. Once Jane got back out all of David's stuff out, she went back to her car and opened her cocktail.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Oh, she's going to be good and loose when this happens. Meanwhile, David was at Hilda's office where he worked out an arrangement with some coworkers to help him move his stuff to Hilda's house on shore. Then he went to the Foster's house where he spent another 3 hours pouring his heart out to Mr. Tom Foster. Dear God, Tom just needs his man to go away.
I know, right? Just lock the door, turn off the lights, play
This
dead.
time, when David left, Tom Foster wasn't sure if David was in his right mind and wondered if he was a danger to himself or others. He is clearly not right now.
Yeah.
During their talk, David never confessed to bigamy, but in later interviews, Mr. Foster said that David was acting like a man who knew his double life was falling apart. There's no saving any of it.
Yeah.
For a few hours, the Fosters thought about calling the cops to warn them that David may be dangerous, but they didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
They didn't know where he was headed,
Yeah.
and all they know about Jane is that she's the blonde woman they saw him macking on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't fault them.
So they decided that they would probably end up being more of a nuisance call than a help.
I can see that. I mean, other than give them his, I don't know, license plate number.
Assuming they know it.
Yeah.
You know, knowing somebody's car when it pulls into the drive is a far cry from being able to give tangible
That's true.
evidence that somebody is dangerous. You know, they don't know about what he's done to Jane with the closet and all of that shit. He was never violent with Dorothy, so they can't say that they knew that he was...
Well, they just know that he's come to their place and been crazy for 3 hours at a time.
They do know that.
That's all you need.
But that's not enough to be like, go get him. Unless you live in Marlborough County, because then if your police chief is, resigned and your whole cops are gone, then they'll just send a deputy to chase you.
Yeah, for fun.
But not
And
in
for
line with your
safety.
duty. Not in line with for your own
And
safety.
nothing to do with any criminal activity.
But you know, this and that and others.
No. Odds and ends.
It is now 2:45 p.m. A man named Jason pulled into the storage facility next to Jane. He had a laundry list of stuff to do that day, and this was just one of his first stops on errands. He gets out the car, and he notices Jane sitting on the hood of her car. She looks cute.
Yeah.
Got on little cut-off jean shorts, a little tank top, a little thong sandal, blonde hair, sitting on the hood of her car, sipping Bartles and James.
It is a very 1980s kind of pastiche.
It's
a little scene.
It's kind of cute, kind of trashy, kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that big hair.
Yeah, he's into
She doesn't have huge hair, just poofed up a little bit.
Just a little poof. Just a
She looks a little video vixen. Just
Yes.
a little.
Very, Tony, what's her name?
Tawny Katane.
Yes.
Yeah. Here I go again on my own.
It's very that. Only it's very like Christina Applegate and Married with Children.
Yes.
This is what she's getting.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes it. Because that's what men like.
Yep.
Jason put on his best flirty smile and walked over and said hi to Jane. Jason had never seen her at the storage unit before, but he saw the boxes and assumed that, this was her unit and asked if she was moving.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm a wild and crazy guy. I don't know if that's why I imagine that's how he's moving.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to hit on somebody in the parking lot of your storage unit,
No.
you're probably going to be a little weird and you put your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
Jane said that she wasn't moving, but she was leaving her husband, and she was just waiting for him to come and get his shits. Jane also told Jason that she had a restraining order against her husband, but she was going to wait on him anyway. So that killed Jason's boner.
Yeah, good. That means he's a normal person. I'm glad he saw this vulnerable woman who's like in an emotional state and been like, "You need space, ma'am."
And he
Laudable.
he told her to just be careful.
Yeah, good advice.
And he went on
You're
to
good
his
dude,
unit.
Jason.
He went on to his unit to go do his thing.
Good.
It is now 3 p.m. and David pulls up to the storage unit on time.
Mm-hmm.
Punctual. There was a loaded gun sitting on the front seat of his car.
Mm.
Without saying a word to Jane, David got out of the car and started loading boxes into his trunk. Jane sat and watched him. But after about 20 minutes, it was clear that he wasn't going to say anything to her.
Yeah.
And she wants her confrontation.
Oh, Jane.
And I wish to fuck Jane would have left well enough alone.
Yeah.
But she is filled with the righteous fury and indignation that can only be derived for spending almost a year of your life with a con man.
And filled with Bartles and James.
Oh yeah, she's about halfway through that shit. She's good and tipsy. She's got some liquid courage in her.
Yep.
And so she wants her confrontation. He lied, he cheated, he cheated her out of the house. He is not going to cheat her out of this confrontation.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
So Jane jumps off the hood of her car and tells David that he is a jerk. David called Jane a witch and told her to shut up. Shut up, witch.
Oh, my God.
Jane told David, I don't have to shut up because I'm not the one who's married to 2 women. What? Motherfucker.
Right? Bum.
David froze for a second because, oh fuck, she really knows everything.
Yeah.
Then he decided to just tap into his own venom. Because he can't, again, just leave well enough alone.
I know.
Let her scream at you, pack your stuff.
But this is someone with an inexhaustible supply of venom.
Right? And so he yells at Jane, I can do whatever I want. Witch.
God.
Oh, Jane counters. And she's yelling at David that I thought you loved me, David, but you're nothing more than a cheat and a con man. And so David tells Jane, well, don't blame me. You were the one dumb enough to marry me, simple bitch.
Oh, God. He just cannot stop telling on himself.
I mean,
Cheating himself.
but at the same time, he ain't wrong. He is his own red flag.
He is. Still funny.
But that's okay, though, because this is what Jane had been waiting for. Give it to me.
Oh, yeah.
This is what she wanted. She wants this back and forth. All right, call me a witch again. I'm going to call you a bigamist. Let's go.
Yeah.
She's ready for it. Jane had jumped off the hood of her car, and now she's walking towards him, yelling at David, he's going to be sorry now. And David's like, are you threatening me? And Jane says, you bet I am. I'm pressing charges against you, David. Bigamy is against the law, in case you didn't know. And remember all those nice political connections you had in LA? Well, they're all going to know that you had 2 wives because I'm taking the story to the media, David. And I'm going to ruin you just like you tried to ruin me. Mic drop.
Nice.
Confrontation had. Achievement unlocked.
Right?
So she takes a step back. She's feeling very proud.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
She's feeling very good about her life right now.
Yay.
But instead of backing away from Jane, David gets into her face and starts screaming at her that she's the one responsible for ruining his life, that she's a bitch from hell, and he wished that he had never met her. And he's just going off, and now she's like, oh shit, I should be scared. Yes, you did try to choke me out. You tortured me into miscarriage and locked me in a cleaning closet. I should be afraid.
Strangled me.
Strangled me too. Yeah, you tried to choke me out.
Which is the number one sign of a fatality in a relationship is if he or she strangles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it's like scary but infinitely controllable all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the potential for more violence.
Yeah. Yes.
Jane didn't expect this. I don't know what she expected. I do know what she expected. I think she expected to get a little liquid courage, be able to cuss him out and feel better.
Yeah.
With no repercussion.
Yeah.
She didn't think that he would get back in her face. And once he does, Jane decides it's time to kick rocks.
Thank God.
But now David is in his bag.
Yeah.
And he's following her back to the car, screaming at the top of his lungs what a horrible person Jane is.
Yeah. I am Darvoing you.
Meanwhile, Jason is in the unit next door, looking through his paperwork like, Jesus.
I know, right?
All I wanted to do was come pick up something out the storage unit. Now I'm in the middle of a domestic. Jason took a little peek outside of his unit and saw that Jane was walking away from David and getting into her car. But instead of driving away, she just keeps fighting with him. They're just screaming back and forth at each other now.
Yeah.
It is now 3:25 p.m. The co-workers that David could call to help him with his stuff has just arrived. They also notice very quickly that they're in the middle of a domestic.
Yeah.
And so they just ignore David and Jane and just start loading the boxes into the trunk.
Yeah.
Into the truck. They're
waiting for the screaming match to peter out.
Yeah. And at that moment, one of David's co-workers saw David reach into Jane's car and punch her dead ass in the face.
Dang.
Jane's head flew backwards after he hit her. He cold cocked her pretty good. He didn't break her nose, but he definitely bloodied it. And she never thought in a million years that David would put his hands on her in anger like that. Which is weird because he choked you out.
And he has. Yeah. I mean, he has put hands on you in anger.
I don't know how she's splitting the hair.
But obviously she is.
Being strangled is not putting your hands on me in anger, but punching me is.
Yeah, I know it's different for everybody, but everyone splits those hairs and I don't know, makes those determinations.
Look,
based on hope.
I assumed you choked me out. You're capable of anything. After that, I'm not gonna play.
Yeah.
I'm not. Because you've proven once something like that happens, if I keep fucking with you, it's because I'm trying to kill you first. And I'm lulling you into some sort of false sense of security for my own murder plot, not the other way around. And when Jane saw that David had bloodied her nose, she got out of the car. She's shaking now.
Yeah.
She gets out of her car, she falls down to her knees, and she's just screaming, "How could you, David?
Wow.
I'm calling the police."
Oh, man.
Ah! She steadies herself. She gets back into the car. She gets the key in the ignition, but she's so flustered that she can't get the car in gear so that she can drive off.
And who knows how buzzed she is, too.
Yeah, Jane is a drinker. She drinks, but I wouldn't qualify her as like a drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a half of Bartles and James might be enough to get her a little tipsy. I don't know if she ate before, or,
Yeah. Well, between like she's not a big person.
No.
She's emotionally charged. She just had I don't know how much of this huge ass bottle.
Yeah.
Just got punched in the face, so all the endorphins are rushing.
Oh, yeah.
Screaming match. Yeah, I'm sure like being a little buzzed did not help her.
No.
Get organized and get the fuck out.
Not for David was the last straw.
Hmm.
He walked over to his car and got the 9mm off the passenger seat. Jason, the dude in the unit next door, watched David head over to his car, and he was relieved when it looked like David was going to leave.
Yeah.
But then Jason saw David get the gun off the front seat. David cocked the gun back and walked quickly over to Jane's car. Jane was still crying, angry, flustered. She can't get the car in gear still.
Yeah.
She's bleeding. And then David stared at Jane for a couple of seconds. This all happens in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
A long time, but not a long time.
Yeah.
He stares at her for 2.5 seconds. And then as Jason's peeking his head from around the storage unit, he saw David level his gun and pull the trigger 6 times.
Mm.
Jason screamed because he's like, oh, I'm next.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you supposed to think?
David's co-workers are just shocked.
Yeah.
They just watched David shoot his soon-to-be ex-wife
Yeah.
6 times in the face, head, and neck. Then walk over to the passenger side of her car and shoot her again.
Oh, yeah?
So he shot her 7 times.
Dick.
Like, everybody's shocked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're also afraid that David would turn the gun on them.
I don't blame them.
One of David's co-workers was able to get up behind him and get the gun away from him.
Yeah, good.
And when his co-worker took the gun, David just looked at the dude and just walked away.
Mm.
Like aimlessly, like almost like he was in a trance.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just disappears around the corner somewhere. The co-worker called 911 to report the shooting. After the 911 call, the co-worker ran to Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Jason also came out of his hiding place to help.
Yeah.
To see what they can do for her. She had a pulse, but it was very weak.
Yeah.
The bullet had entered through Jane's cheek and left her almost unrecognizable.
Ooh. Oh, poor thing. Oh, her poor family.
And just like that, Jane lost her pulse.
Mm.
She was riddled with bullets, all about the head, neck, and torso.
Mm.
Out of nowhere, David came out from wherever he had gone.
Yeah.
And asked the guys that were trying to give Jane emergency assistance, is she dead or what? Both Jason and the co-worker were just like, go the fuck away, you scary,
Yeah.
scary, horrible man.
Yeah. It was really brave of them to stick around and stay with her.
But before they could say anything, like, holy hell, we're all terrified of you, get the fuck away, murderer, move away, he just disappeared again. Back behind the stacks of units. Thankfully, the manager of the storage unit had also called 911 when he heard shots, and he immediately locked the place down.
Oh, good.
And within minutes of the shooting being reported, the police were on their way. While they were waiting for the cops, the storage manager noticed a man walking towards the front gates like he was in some sort of a weirdo trance. The storage manager wasn't sure if David was the shooter or a witness, because the guy didn't have a gun. But David told the storage manager, my wife has been shot and she's probably dead. You should call the police. It was 3:45 when the cops showed up with their guns drawn. David watched as the storage manager opened up the gates and let the cops in. And when the cops drew down on him, he was like, why are they coming in here guns blazing? I'm not resisting.
Mm-hmm.
They got David on the ground, and he was arrested without incident. Thank fuck.
Good.
So it's about 4 p.m. on that muggy Sunday afternoon. Papa Richard and Mama Janice were
Oh,
sitting down for a little Sunday dinner.
yeah.
Just as they were about to dig in, there was a knock at the door, and a uniformed officer told them that their baby Jane was dead.
Mm.
Before the officer could say a word, Papa Richard knew that it was her husband.
Yeah.
The officer explained that Jane had been killed in a shooting. Papa Richard asked, even though he knew the answer, he asked if it was Jane's husband. And the officer confirmed that Jane had had a fight with her husband and that David had shot her, and David was already in custody.
Mm.
By 10 p.m., Jane's family had gathered at their parents' house in shock. Sandra took it upon herself to call Jody in L.A., tell her what happened.
Aw.
Sandra and Jody cried, and all Jody could think was that Jane only had 48 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours, she would have been in L.A., and that would have kept her safe.
Yes. Yeah.
Bob Brown got the news about Jane in his office on that Monday morning.
Oh, poor Bob.
He told the cops that he would make a statement if need be, and offered up all of the evidence, everything that he had found
Yeah.
in his investigation. Bob prayed for Jane and her family, and he wished that Jane had listened to his warning.
Yeah.
Bob snapped himself out of his prayers because he had to call Dorothy
Mm.
and let her know what happened. Bob called Dorothy and told her that David had killed Jane in front of 3 witnesses the Sunday before. Dorothy was in shock for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
and she could only think about 2 things. 1, Brandy had been right all along.
Yep.
And 2, but for the grace of whatever gods are paying attention at any given moment,
Yeah.
this could have been her.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I feel like the Brandy was right is the more important thought here.
Yeah.
Remember, Brandy left home at 17.
Mm-hmm.
She is now in her early 20s.
Not just left home. Like, she ran away, but she was practically thrown out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandy is now like 22, 23.
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy's got a lot of time to think about this.
Yeah.
And Dorothy and Brandy have been semi-estranged since Brandy ran away.
Yeah.
They talk, but it's tense. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Dorothy. I'm not mad
It
at Brandy.
is,
It's on
yeah.
Dorothy. She chose that man over her kid.
She did. Fully. 100%.
And completely. And she has to live with that guilt.
Yeah.
The news that David was in jail for murder charges didn't reach LA until Wednesday. So much for the media, David. It took them 3 whole days to get the story to LA. And even then it was page 3 below the fold.
On a slow news day.
The headline was, quote, "Local civic leader accused of murder."
Oh my God. Civic leader. they had to put some sex into it somehow. We gotta make this a little sexy.
But
civic leader.
He's so worried about the media and his reputation. That's how much nobody in LA gave a fuck.
Right.
Just local civic
like,
leader.
buddy.
A week later, on September 22nd, 1991, David's political friends got the whole story. That day, the LA Daily News ran a picture of David on the front page under the headline, quote, "The Double Life of David Miller." Okay, that's fine. He finally got the front.
Yeah.
It took over a week.
Yes.
That's how much LA didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. And only because he was a bigamist.
Right.
It's like, okay, you have like, you're locally somewhat known to some people.
Yeah, not even locally world
you
famous.
You were two-timing 2 women and saying you were married to them?
I won't. Yeah.
Okay. There's the man-biting dog.
When Grant read the article, he was sad but not shocked. Other people that knew David, like Ed and some other clients that were left wondering what kind of evil had they let into their lives.
Yeah.
Senator Alan Robbins, who David had worked for, was about 2 months out for his own indictment and sentencing
Yeah.
for extortion and racketeering. He had expressed sadness for what David did. The senator admitted that he knew David for 6 years, but they were only jogging partners. Just jogging.
Yeah. No details on what they talked about on those jogs.
No. Like jogging, is that what we call it now, sir?
I let him have it. Let him have it.
Well, you do you, girl. You do you. Back in Sardis, David's parents, Russell and Maxine Miller, turned off their phone and kept their sorrow to themselves. They had no answer for what their son had done. They had no explanation for why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
They quit knowing that boy when he was about 13.
Yeah.
With all of his weird secretive and
yeah.
It had been a long time since they could say that they knew their son.
Yeah.
If they ever did.
Seriously. He is so weird and so squirrely. Yeah.
But they had come to terms with the fact that the boy that they had loved and tried to raise, I believe them when they say they tried.
Yeah, yeah.
No longer existed. And yet, as his parents, they still felt some loyalty to him. So, the elderly couple took a few $1,000s out of their savings, and they used it to hire lawyers for David. And then they washed their hands of him. That's all they could do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
More than fair. Yeah.
For them. Because these poor people, they're pushing 80. They don't know.
And he's been ignoring them for how long? It hasn't done shit.
He left home at 18 and never looked back.
Yeah. Like, I don't imagine, like, he writes home, he calls on their birthdays or any holidays.
No. He's like 46, 47 when he gets arrested. They haven't spoken to their son in the better part of 30 years.
Yeah. They did more than enough.
Yeah. And ultimately, they hired a lawyer named Leon Cheek.
Fun.
Leon is the kind of lawyer that didn't believe in no-win cases. He had represented more than a few scumbags in his time,
Yeah.
but he was considered a clean fighter and an honorable attorney who boasted only 4 losses on his record.
Okay, that's impressive.
Leon believed that there was always a legal explanation for somebody's actions and decided that the best course of action for David was to say that he is legally insane.
Yeah. I wondered, like, when he was, like, doing the zombie walk, I'm like, is he setting this up for, like, because, like, he's constant, like, a 24/7 weasel.
Yes.
So I'm always assuming he's, like, working some angle.
Oh, yeah. Once Leon decided on a plan of attack, he hired a shrink that would agree with his area of law.
Of course. His job. Yeah.
He found one in the form of a forensic psychiatrist named Dr. Gutman. And Dr. Gutman examined David and found that he had 2 personality disorders. Depression and narcissistic personality disorder. That's right. David's the only one I'm going to let have it because a doctor said it.
It's official.
Everybody else, no. You ain't that cute. You ain't that special. I refuse.
But yeah, doctor's the only one who can say it.
Don't tell me that so-and-so is a narcissist. You got a doctor's note?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I refuse to let that asshole feel that special.
Yeah. Or just, like, let's not equate, like, being self-centered or selfish with, like, narcissism. I'm like, no, they know better.
Yeah.
They can be better. They're just being selfish or being self-centered. And
right.
We can stop that.
And not everybody's bad or selfish behavior is
yeah.
clinically narcissism. But none of that was enough to prove that David was insane when he killed Jane. Dr. Gutman would say that David's insanity stemmed from his depressive disorder, which caused David to disassociate in a way similar to multiple personality disorder.
Oh my God. Sybil, calm down. Not even David had multiple names or personalities. Just scams.
Right? Dr. Gutman believed that this is what happened to David the day he killed Jane. And he based his opinion on the fact that David did not remember killing Jane, and he didn't remember being married to Dorothy. He's a liar, sir.
Right? This is easily explained.
During the trial, the defense tried to get David's bigamy thrown out of evidence. But it was decided that the bigamy would be allowed in. Because, like, well, if he hadn't been a bigamist, none of this would have.
Yeah.
Dorothy took the stand and confirmed that on the Sunday that Jane had been killed, she was in the middle of making plans to file bigamy charges in Los Angeles, in Las Vegas. The plan was 48 hours. Jane was going to get on the plane, be in LA. Right after she got to LA, she was going to be at Jody's house just long enough to shit, shower, and shave.
Yeah.
She was getting back in her car, driving 4 hours to Vegas to go meet Dorothy, and they were going to file bigamy charges.
Wow.
That was her
That's
plan
a big
for the
weekend.
week.
Yeah.
That was her plan for the week. She was
Big
planning
plans.
to be done with David on that Sunday, on a plane to LA by Tuesday, and by the following Monday she was going to be in Vegas. Tom Foster even took the stand to say that David was scared that Jane and Dorothy were going to ruin his life.
Yeah.
Dr. Gutman did his job when he testified that David was not in his right mind. But in the end, all of the legal wrangling was for naught.
Yay.
The prosecution was able to prove in very dramatic fashion that David only needed the 30 seconds it took to walk from his car to Jane's car to form intent.
Yeah.
And the prosecuting attorney, she reenacted the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
She went over to the jury table, she picked up the gun, and she speed walked in a similar way that David was described, with a metronome ticking off that 30 seconds so that you could see exactly how long he had to form the intent to kill and exactly how long he had to change his mind.
I bet it felt like an eternity in that courtroom.
Much like 5 minutes is a blissful eternity when you hit the snooze button.
Yeah, true.
30 seconds probably seems like a lifetime when somebody's made that decision to kill someone. So it was very Perry Mason in the courtroom.
Yeah. Everyone is having their final moments and confrontations and flourishes.
You know,
this one.
I'll give it to the prosecuting attorney. She gave it to David in a way that Jane would be proud.
Yes. Jane approves.
Jane was looking down from wherever she was at, like, Jane, gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you, Jane. Gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. She was, yes. That prosecutor may have been fully possessed.
Mm-hmm. With the righteous spirit of Jane.
Man.
Get him.
It would take a jury just under 3 hours to find David guilty of first-degree murder.
Nice.
And he was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. And he would need to serve a minimum of 25 years before he is considered for parole. I was wrong. He was 41 when he was convicted.
Okay.
And that's essentially a life sentence.
Yes.
You're going to be 66 by the time anybody thinks of letting you out.
That 25 years is coming. It's come and gone, right?
Yeah.
Is he still in prison?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
They let him go nowhere.
Life. It is Florida.
They said 2 life.
Yeah.
25 2.
Yeah.
25 is up.
We're at the 2 part and we're going.
So he's at least at the part where he can be considered for parole, but he's not been.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever get parole.
He won't. Girl, it's Florida. He's lucky they ain't killing.
That's so true.
They're like Texas, man. Papa Richard thanked the jury as they left the courtroom.
Aw, yeah.
Jane's family was ecstatic about the verdict. And for her part, Dorothy had long since divorced David by the time the trial got underway in October of 1991. She was thrilled to see that David would get justice. Not just for killing Jane, but for all the lies that he told to her and God only knows who else, really.
Yeah.
After finding out that David was a bigamist, Dorothy reached out to her daughter Brandy to apologize about what she had experienced growing up with David in her home.
Good. It's a good start.
She threw herself on that girl's tender mercies, like groveling.
Good.
Which I think is the right and true reaction.
Yes. Yeah.
Slowly, mother and daughter were trying to rebuild their relationship.
Oh, that's good.
Brandy had found a way to forgive her mother, but Brandy was afraid of David. And she was scared that if David ever got out,
Yeah.
he would come after Brandy and Dorothy because they're the only people left alive that know the whole truth about him.
Yeah.
Once David was convicted, Dorothy went to a payphone and called Brandy. Mother and daughter had a good cry, both happy that the long nightmare known as the David situation is finally over. Later that night, Brandy had dinner with her boyfriend to celebrate. And when she came home, she read some of her own old journals from when she had shared a home with David. After reading those journals, she put them away, and for the first time since she had left Florida, Brandy finally slept peacefully.
Oh my God. Bless her heart.
And that
Aw.
was the story of David Miller.
No, fuck him. That was the story of Jane!
Yes!
Jane! What was her maiden name?
Oh, it just Maggie.
Jane Maggie.
Yes, Maghy, Maggie.
You are a champ, lady. I'm sorry you ran into this fucking psycho.
But she was gonna bring it. She was just like, she's all about cuss him out so fucking good.
And 9 out of 10 times, you will live to
See the next day.
Yeah.
But god damn it,
I
Jane.
know.
God damn it. But hey, Jane, this one's for you.
Hell yeah.
Prost. Cheers, Janie.
Yeah.
And on that note, I have been Samara.
And I have been Jeannie.
And this has been Talk Deadly to Me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, please do that. Ding, ding, ding. Call to action.